Well, good afternoon and welcome to the final round coverage of the AV Jennings New South Wales Open Championship. I'm Ewan Porter. I'm joined by PGA Tour of Australasia and PGA Tour of China member James Grierson. And James, following round 3, we certainly do have a pretty epic leaderboard.
Yeah, we do. And we've got the final group all under the age of 25. So with only one professional win between the three of them. So they'd love to add to that.
Well, just behind them, you've got Josh Younger and Andrew Dote as well. Josh Younger was runner-up at the 2014 Australian Masters, and then Andrew Dote, even though he's 3 strokes behind, he is the proven winner. He's won here in Australia, he's won on the Asian Tour, and he's won on the European Tour. Well, yesterday we saw plenty of highlights, so why don't we take a look at some of those? And what better way to start than this shot, James?
The best shot of the day. Hole-in-one on 17. Can't get any better than this.
Aaron Townsend, you predicted it.
And you went off. You went crazy.
Actually, I think I stole your glory there. I said I predicted it, but you definitely predicted that at the start of the day. That was a pretty friendly pin there on 17 yesterday. What about this shot from Jordan Mullaney on 18?
Great shot. Set up a very, very good birdie putt, which is the perfect spot to putt from just left of the flag on 18, which he converted, which we'll see in a second.
Yeah, you make a 4 on 18, you're doing pretty well. You make a 3 and you are certainly walking off at the end of the round a very, very happy man.
Perfect way to start off the day.
Well, speaking of birdies on 18, this was Queenslander Brett Rankin putting down the hill.
Great putt. Just drops in centre cup. That's exactly how he wanted it to.
Yeah, wonderful round of 66. This man, Jake Higginbottom, he's in contention. He's currently in 6th spot. That was a great par save on 18. What about this one? This is Josh Younger on 17.
We said this was the perfect spot to putt from, just left to the flag. Using the contour of the green perfectly.
Yeah, wonderful shot from Josh Younger. He's had 3 runner-ups on the tour, yet to claim that first professional victory. Could it be today? This was his birdie putt at 17.
Putts like that certainly help.
Yeah, well done, Josh Younger, the 35-year-old Victorian. Here's your mate, Travis Smythe. What about this shot on 18?
Perfect shot, exactly where you want to leave the shot. Coming into the last hole. A little bit of spin always helps.
Well, you mentioned there's only one professional victory in the final group. It was this man. He did it as an amateur back in 2017 at the Northern Territory PGA. That putt got him to 16 under par. He starts Sunday just 1 stroke behind. This man, Justin Warren. This was for a par on 18. He was 9 under par for the round. You heard that correctly. He tapped that in for a bogey, 8 under par 64. He begins the final round in a share of the lead at 17 under par.
With this man, Minwoo Lee. Not the best tee shot on the last hole, but we did talk about how hard that tee shot was.
Yeah, it's a very awkward tee shot, 18. A lot of players taking irons off the tee as Minwoo Lee did. He left that one out to the right. Look where this one finishes up.
Would have been hard if the cart stayed there.
Yeah, he played a little bit of army golf here on 18. Right off the tee, left into the greenside bunker. He began that final hole at 18 under par. That was for a par. Walks off with a bogey. He's tied for the lead with Justin Warren at 17 under par.
And this shot, great shot here from Andrew Dote.
Yeah, he had a rough day yesterday coming off that course record 61, 11 under par on Friday. That one over par for the round. This to shoot an even par round of 72.
Bingo. Comes in. He's not in a bad position going into the last round. He has won a lot in his professional career, so he'd be very confident going into today.
Well, we'll be streaming live coverage today of the 17th and 18th holes, all the players vying for this Kellnagel Cup. But earlier today, we took a more in-depth look at the difficult 17th hole. This week, the par 3 17th hole at Twin Creeks Golf and Country Club has averaged the 7th most difficult hole. Yesterday, it was a little bit friendlier. The whole location was here. We saw 11 birdies and, of course, Aaron Townsend's stunning hole-in-one. However, James, today, a completely different proposition with this whole location up the back here, 28 paces on.
Of course, Hewitt, as well as it being 28 paces on, it's also 5 paces from the right. So if the guys miss the green to the right, brings in this slope, and the green chases away from the flag.
And on the opposite end of the spectrum, if I'm in this left bunker, same sort of thing. I've only got to hit the bunker shot just a little bit too cute, everything rolling away from the flag.
And also, if players are too aggressive here over the back, everything from over the back does also roll away from them, and it will funnel down 20 feet away from the hole.
So I'm tipping a good shot here
off the tee would be where those balls are finished.
Yeah, I'm going to say a lot of balls 20 feet short, a little bit right of the flag.
So there's a good reason that 17 has averaged the 7th most difficult hole this week, and most of it is to do with the green complex. So whilst we did see that hole in one yesterday and a plethora of birdies, I think a 3 here today is going to be a very, very good score.
Well, this is how things stand right now. Minwoo Lee, Justin Warren and Travis Smythe. We have a 3-way tie for the lead at 17 under par. Josh Younger just trailing there by 1 stroke. Andrew Dote, he's where he began the day at 14 under par. But we can see, James, that a few players have made a bit of a move there at the bottom half of the leaderboard.
Yeah, Andrew Martin, 5 under par for the day. Max McArdle, 1 to get to 11, and Jake Hickenbottom's even for the day at 11 under.
Well, our 2015 champion, he was an amateur when he won the New South Wales Open Championship. Ben Eccles, a round of 65 today. And I can tell you that the wind is starting to get up a little bit out there. So that's a round of 65. I think you're going to be hard-pressed finding anyone shooting a better score than that today.
Yeah, Brody Martin, 66, very impressive as well to get back up to T9.
Peter Lonard, the veteran. What a career he has had. Played a couple of President's Cups. He's won on the US Tour. He's won here multiple times in Australia. 66 today. He's vaulted inside the top 10. You've got Marcus Fraser there. He's won 3 times on the European Tour. And then Denzel Iramia, New Zealander. First year as a professional. He's at 10 under par as well.
Yeah, Denzel has got a lot of game. He's played very well a couple of times in Japan this year. Aaron Wilkin continuing to be very consistent. He's got a good round of 4 under going. And your mate Jason Norris, 4 under as well.
Yeah, Jason Norris, I played with him the first 2 rounds. Very, very steady. Puts the ball really, really well. And look at the leaderboard here. We've got Jamie Arnold, fellow Cronulla member. He's at 8 under par in a share of 19th. Mark Hensby, another man who played a President's Cup, 7 under par. And Charlie Den, you've been travelling a little bit with Charlie up in China this year, 7 under par.
Yeah, Charlie's always up there. Plays very, very good golf, and I know that this layout suits him. So hopefully he can make some birdies and get his way up the leaderboard.
Well, I mentioned earlier that we'll be taking a look at the 17th and 18th holes today. They'll be our feature holes. So number 17, James and I took a more in-depth look earlier. This is a flyover of the hole. Why don't you tell us how you should play this hole, James?
Well, especially with the back left flag today, you can even see a lot of guys hitting it to a couple 20 feet short of the flag, just on the right there, taking out the 2 bunkers that we sort of said that was such a hard up and down and not bringing long into play at all.
Well, that was obviously shot a few days ago because the flag there on the right, that's actually over on the back left, as James said today. If you hit the ball on the right-hand side of that, that's going to be a very difficult 2-putt. This is Matthew Miller on the 17th, where you can see how long this hole is playing today. He actually went in there with a hybrid. Now, this should catch the slope a little bit. This could cut back down towards the hole.
That's a great shot. Matty does his hybrids very, very straight, so there's no surprise for Matty hitting a hybrid in there close on 17.
He's got a good round 2 going. Matthew Miller, 2-time winner on the PGA Tour of Australasia. He's playing alongside Jordan Mullaney. And this man, what do you think Aaron Townsend's chances are of replicating yesterday's feat? Could he go back-to-back aces on 17? What do you think?
I'd love to say it's very high. I think he'd be probably thinking he'd love to do it again, but if he hits it closer than Matty, that'd be a great shot. So no, not very high.
Well, he's a good iron player. He likes to hit a little bit of a draw, Aaron Townsend.
Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, you can see he's sending it out to the right. Hits the ball very high. Is it coming back?
Looks to be pretty...
Oh. Well, I can tell you that he loves the 17th hole. You're not going to see 2 better shots than that today.
No. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I don't think we will.
That's incredible ball striking there. Matthew Miller, who has a wonderful round going. He's at 10 under par inside the top 10. Aaron Townsend. Well, Aaron Townsend has had 3 consecutive rounds of 2 under par 70, and he's 2 under par for the round today on 17.
Let's see what Jordan's got in store for us here.
Jordan Mullaney, he's currently at 10 under par inside the top 10, so a lucrative week at the moment for Mullaney, and that one was all over it. That's exactly
what we
where you were.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's obviously just going to depend on the lie down there, but, you know, we'll see what he's got in store. Hopefully he does a better chip than what I threw it down there today.
Well, the issue with that is if he hits it 3 or 4 feet too hard, it'll go another 10 or 15 feet, maybe even 20 feet past the hole. Well, this is the 18th hole. 2002 Australian Open champion Steve Allen
It's a great shot.
I don't know if that's his third shot or fourth shot. That water is definitely going to come in play today.
Yeah, you can imagine with where that ball's finished up, he would have taken a drop.
We are getting word that was his third shot. He drove it in the fairway bunker. He's laid it up to there precariously close to the water. So he has an opportunity to save par.
Yeah, playing alongside Aaron Wilkin and Robbie Morrison from Scotland boy, but rides in WA now.
Well, the man in the forefront of your picture there, Aaron Wilkin, you've been playing up in China a little bit with him this year. He has a very unique technique, doesn't he? But it gets the job done.
He does, but I've never seen someone like playing with Aaron. He has so much control over the ball, especially when he needs to. He just finds a way to hit something low and moving left to right. It's a lot of fairways, and obviously that gives you a lot of chances to build momentum and continue the pars ticking over. He's obviously got a good round today, 4 under going, so he'll be looking to get this one up and down.
I'm still struggling to get my head around the knee-high drops.
It's interesting.
I know the RNA and the USGA created the new rules. I work for the USGA, so I've got to be careful what I do say, but I think that's one of the rules that perhaps, I don't know if it needed that much tweaking, dropping from knee height. I don't know how many more back injuries have been occurred because of it.
Used to be over the back, is that correct? And they changed it to shoulder high?
Yep.
I wasn't playing golf then, so I didn't have to do that one.
Well, Aaron Wilkin, this chip shot should be a fairly straightforward chip. That is a really, really good pin placement there on 18.
Yeah. From the fairway, it would look like it's probably not even on the green.
No,
you wouldn't be able to see over the water and the reeds.
Very difficult to get the ball close. He's going well. He's 9 under par, Aaron Wilkin. He's inside the top 15. Look at this. Really well played, but it's catching the slope, a bit of wind there as well. Look at that.
Shows how quick the greens are as well.
Well, he's left himself in a good spot with a putt straight back up the hill. That was a pretty good technique too. That was a pretty big swing for a short shot.
Yeah. Now, Robbie Morrison has great hands. Does a lot of stuff with Brett Rumford. I'd expect him to get this one pretty close. Pretty good. Obviously didn't move anywhere near as much as Aaron's chip did once it got low, but still pretty handy.
Well, he's going to have a shorter putt than what Aaron Wilkin will, but I think I'd rather Aaron Wilkin's putt. That's going to be a slick putt downhill left to right.
Yeah.
Tough day for Robbie Morrison. He began at 5 under par. 1 over par on the round, and even more difficult day for Steve Allen. He's 4 over par on his round. It's good to see Steve back out here. He's been residing in Arizona for the last 17, 18 years. He competed on the PGA Tour over there for about 10 or 11 years. Just for a par. Monday qualified for 2 events on the PGA Tour this past season. Still chipping away at it. He'll be playing at the Australian next week, looking to claim his 2nd Australian Open title.
Obviously still playing some good golf too, because Monday qualifying for PGA Tour events is very difficult.
It certainly wears on you mentally as well. It can be wear on you financially as well if you don't get in too many or don't make too many cuts. Now, important putt here for Aaron Wilkin.
Back up the hill. Can be quite aggressive for this one. Obviously back into that little bit of breeze out there as well, so.
Oh, beautiful putt. Gee, I like that putting stroke. He just got up there nonchalantly, hit it with authority, back of the cup. Good round from Aaron Wilkin.
Here's Matty Miller back on the tee on 18. This shot really gives you an idea of what the players are facing.
He's got a very unique technique, does Matthew Miller, but he is one of the straightest hitters that you will ever see in professional golf.
No surprise.
That's wide for him, actually. It's not right in the middle of the fairway.
It's right centre.
He's a fantastic fellow, Matt Miller. He had 8 top 5s on the PGA Tour of Australasia last year, 2nd on our order of merit. He'll be going up tonight to Japan to compete in the final stage of the qualifying school, where this man, Aaron Townsend, has been playing the last couple of seasons.
Going with driver as well. He slotted it yesterday.
It's a very awkward tee shot, isn't it? You get a good look there at what the players are seeing.
Yeah, we wanted to finish this one just over the right edge of that tree in the distance, overhanging the left-hand side of the fairway.
There's a bit of a late finish as he left that out to the right a little bit.
Looks like it.
is it? Where is it? There it is. Well, it's certainly not his best strike, but I'd much prefer it there than in the sand coming over the water.
Yeah, it's not a bad leave there at all. Yeah, Jordan Mullaney next to tee off.
Birdied this hole yesterday. He's got the iron out. Remember, he hit it 260 metres up here yesterday.
Yeah, he nearly got past Aaron's driver. We're leaning a little right as well.
Oh, and that is a long way back. See, that's the thing with taking the iron off 18. If you do what he did yesterday and hit that low chasing draw, you can get it up there a country mile. But if you don't do that, he's now faced with an extremely long second shot. He won't be able to go at flag. That's the decision you have to make standing on the tee.
Yeah, it makes it quite a difficult. It obviously does take the bunker out of play. But at the same time, like you said, if you don't execute it, then now he's sitting with, he's going to be at 170, 180 metres out with a tucked left flag that you sort of, from there, you're very, very happy with 30 feet. Where if you hit drive, you can give yourself an outside chance of birdie.
Well, Aaron Townsend, he was a winner at the New South Wales Open back in 2008. He won by 7 strokes up at the Vintage in the Hunter Valley, about 2.5 hours north of here. 3-time winner on tour. I mentioned Matthew Miller has won a couple of times. Jordan Mullaney looking for that first win, but he's been in pretty good form. About 6 weeks ago, he was inside the top 10 of the Victorian PGA Championship. See the breeze just starting to pick up a little bit out there. We've had some terrible bushfires, haven't we, over the last 5-6 weeks, all across Australia really, but particularly here in New South Wales, and there's still that smoke haze hanging around and the air quality not as good as what it could be.
And today with the breeze coming from north-northeast as well, it's going to bring some of that haze down from north of Sydney where the fires have been of recent, and obviously that means that the last plays into the wind and 17 plays into off the right as well, so it's making these 2 holes harder, and also the air quality not as great as we're used to here in beautiful Sydney.
Absolutely, it is a beautiful city. One thing has to be said, the greenkeepers have really got this golf course in sensational condition. Well, the man in the forefront of your screen there lining up his putt, he is the current Australian junior champion. His name is Elvis Smiley. If that name rings a bell, rightly so. His mother, Liz Smiley, was a 4-time Grand Slam doubles champion.
Playing alongside the Victorian Andrew Martin and Charlie Dam from Queensland up in the beautiful sunny coast.
Played a bit of golf with Charlie over the past 6 or 7 weeks up there on the Sunshine Coast. He's been making some changes with his coach, Grant Field, but
just another one of Grant's prodigies coming through. He's got a lot coming through.
Certainly does. Cameron Smith being the most prominent. Of course, Maverick Antcliffe has won 3 times up in China this year. He'll be competing on the European Tour next year.
Yeah, winning the Auto Merit gives him the same categories as last year's winner, Jake McLeod of New South Wales Open. So, yeah, he knows what he's in for. Obviously being good mates with Jake as well. So, hopefully Mav can kick off in Europe next year.
Andrew Martin, the Victorian, 35 years old. He too has been in some wonderful form of late. Finished 4th at the Thailand Open just a few weeks ago. He was top 10 at the Victorian PGA. And it looks like he's on his way to another top 10 finish here because he is currently 11 under par in a share of 6th. And this, to get to 12 under par, would put him in outright 6th position. Good to see guys like Andrew Martin really grinding it out. He's been a pro now for about 12 or 13 years.
Tough putt. We did say we'd see a lot of players putting from this general area up the slope, and it's going to go left to the hole.
Tidy.
Good putt.
Very, very happy walking off with a 3 here at 17.
His playing partners, Charlie's at 2 under for the day to be 8 under total, and Elvis sadly not having the best day. He's 2 over par today, which is 4 under total.
Before these guys do up 18, maybe as soon as they cut out, did you want to show the 18 that we did?
It's a handy par there from Martin. Be taking that one when you stand up on the tee, and Charlie's obviously hit it just in the left fringe here. It's going to be a pretty slow putt coming back up the hill. Charlie's speed putting is unreal.
Cross-handed grip there?
Yeah, he said that when he changed to cross-hand, it changed his putting life. He became so much more confident with it, so
Quite a bit of swing from left to right. That's a pretty good lag as well.
Yeah, I'd be very happy with that.
Well, back to 18. This is the second shot from the right rough for Aaron Townsend.
Good shot.
Pretty safe. I mean, coming from the rough, you cannot attack that flag, but look where this one will roll to, down in Aaron Wilkin territory.
Obviously, we can see why both Robbie and Aaron were in that spot just previously. We know what the chip does, so...
Yeah, a lot of swing there from left to right. Let's tell you what, it's going to be a very, very exciting finish for these players today. If you're coming down 17-18, tied for the lead, or one in front, you are going to have your hands full with the heart fluttering.
This is obviously the view of what Matty Miller's got from the fairway. 160 metres coming in from here. Wind off the right. He's gone with a hybrid here. Though, like we said, Matty does hit his hybrids extremely straight. He said that when he played in the WGC in China, when he played with Dustin, he felt like he was hitting a hybrid into every hole, and Dustin had a wedge in his hand.
Well, that takes some real mental fortitude to be able to continue doing that hole after hole, week after week. Matty's one of the shorter hitters, and he backs himself with the strengths of his game. This is one of the strengths. What's this one doing? Cannot miss it left. That is just sensational. Hybrid into 17, hybrid into 18, 20 feet, 25 feet behind the hole.
Really, that's the perfect spot as well.
Tell you what, a lot of young professionals could learn a hell of a lot from following Matthew Miller around for a day. And he's 4 under par today, one of the better rounds going. He's the ultimate professional.
Mentally, you'd have to say that his mental game is his biggest strength.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know when someone hits it as short as what Matthew Miller does in comparison to the rest of the pros, you know that other players and other people are going to say something, that you need to hit it further and to stick to your guns and know that you can compete with what you have. As I said, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to do that. Now, their playing partner, Jordan Mullaney here, he's on the path over on the right-hand side, exactly where we saw Min-Woo Lee yesterday. He's called for a rules official. I'm assuming he's going to see if he can get relief off this path.
Because it is
Obviously, just...
Yep. So it's just treated like a normal path.
Where does the path end? Over here?
Well, you got to be clear of the wood chips. So you can get a whack of tee down there, right?
You think like there or
I think we've got to be clear of the wood chips.
here?
Yep.
Yeah. Like that. Yeah, you're not really. Yeah. That's going to be about there.
Yep.
Like that. And that's probably going closer.
Well, this is an interesting scenario because Min-Woo Lee yesterday, he decided to play it off that path. He obviously felt like he had a pretty good lie, but why would Jordan not choose to take relief in this situation? Sorry, why would he choose to take relief in this situation?
Well, obviously because it's the wood chippy sort of surface, that if there is one sitting behind the ball, it means that he's going to not be able to get direct contact, and especially with where the flag is on the left and the water being so close, that he'd hate for the contact to not be perfect, and then without any error of his own, it goes in the water when he thinks he's hit a good shot.
So they're really just deciphering here which is his nearest point of relief. I'm sure Jordan Mullaney will be hoping that he gets to drop it over on the left-hand side, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Although, I guess the benefit from taking it further right is you get a better angle looking up the green, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously going further right means that even though it's a couple of metres, the angle over the water, where this way he can sort of chase it up from the front of the green and use the contour to get it close, where if he was further left, and he would be hitting straight over the water and the ball would be going further to the right of the green.
Well, we just got a bit of a close-up of his ball there. I almost feel like he's deciding whether he should play it. Is he? No, he's got the wood out, so he is taking a drop.
And obviously now he's just trying to pick the best part where it is a little bit wispy because it is so dry off the fairways here that he wants to give himself the best possible chance to have a clean lie.
All right, so he can't go nearer to the hole, hence why he's coming backwards. Don't forget the knee-high drop, Jordan.
Your favourite part. Good camera work there.
Ooh, well, that ball's ended up on dirt, but I actually think he's going to prefer playing off the dirt, isn't he, than in that long wispy grass.
Yeah, because if there is any long wispy grass that gets caught between the club face and the ball, you produce a flyer, which obviously the ball spins less and it goes 20 to 30 longer. And no one likes not being able to control their ball, so with off the dirt he can get clean contact. And
well, what are you doing here in this situation? You've 10 under par for the tournament. You're inside the top 10. He's got a very, very awkward shot. Obviously a very tough pin placement. Where's he looking? What shot's he going to try and play?
so he's probably got like 180 in from there, so wind's off the right, so really going to be thinking if he goes over the centre of the bunker that we can see in the front of our screen there. And if the wind does touch it and it gets close, it's a bonus, but really happy to hit it 30 feet right of the flag and take your 2-putt. It's a tough hole at the best of times, but obviously when you haven't hit the best tee shot, you're really happy to make 4.
Well, let's see if he can take heed to your advice. Oh, starting it out exactly where you said, just right of the green. Didn't move, so it's found the green side bunker. However, he does have plenty of green to work with there.
Yeah, it's obviously a bunker shot where it's going to be going from downhill from the edge of the bunker all the way to the flag, so he's got plenty of green to work with. Obviously this depends on the lie, but that's the good miss, because obviously you can still get up and down from there. If it does go left, it's automatic bogey.
Okay, back to the par 3 17th. This is Queenslander Corey Crawford on the tee.
Ooh. Close to see if it hung up or went to the bunker where you showed us the bunker shot from earlier, so back into the wind, so it's obviously not the hardest shot, but we'll just have to see what he's got. Some couple of good shots in there from his playing partners, James Anasties, the Kiwi, and David McKenzie, Victoria.
Back on the 18th tee, Andrew Martin has the driver out. Little bunty looking swing, he likes it. Oh, beautiful tee shot. This 18th is playing a little tougher than yesterday, not just due to that hole location, but it's coming back into the northerly breeze today. It's a hot wind.
Yeah, yesterday the guys could use the breeze to get one turning over and going away from the bunker.
Elvis Smiley, this hole suits a left-hander. He can just rip a little fade out there. I've played a little bit of golf with Elvis in recent times. 17 years old. Mentioned he's the current Australian junior champion. He'll be playing the Australian Open Championship next week. Not only is he a wonderful golfer, but he's a fine young man. Beautiful tee shot there.
Perfect.
I was having a chat to his parents, Liz and Peter, this morning, and they're certainly very proud of their son. They're actually staying with former Australian tennis legend Tony Roach this past week.
Chat at the dinner table will be pretty fun in that household this weekend.
Here's your man Charlie, 3-wood out.
Yeah, a little draw here for Charlie, I would imagine.
When I played with Charlie up on the Sunshine Coast recently, he's trying to, always been a little bit across the line at the top of his swing. He said he's trying to straighten that out a little bit.
Yeah, he said that he was very happy to just keep working hard and make changes for the long run and just play with what he's got here this week.
Takes a very, very mature head to be able to do that, because you certainly know what you're capable of. It's easy to revert to what you're comfortable with under pressure.
Charlie doesn't get fazed by much. Seems to, if he makes eagle or bogey, it's the same reaction, so which is a great thing to have.
And it's
especially
conducive
so
to
early.
longevity as
Yeah.
well. Well, up at 18, you see the ball in the right-hand side of your screen there. That's the bunker shot that Jordan Mullaney hit. So he will have that putt from the fringe for a par.
So Townsend's got the putter out, so he's taking a different approach from what we saw in the group before.
Yeah, but he's going to have a big breaking putt, isn't he?
Yeah. It's obviously going to go uphill when it gets on, just before it gets onto the green as well, coming through the fringe. and it's going to get pretty quick once it gets halfway down and going left to right.
So in that case, how do you judge this when you know the first 10 feet of your putt is slow, but then it's quick after that? What are you focusing on?
You're picking your spot where you want the ball to sort of like in your imagination to start to die and let the green take over. He's obviously coming from a different spot with where the boys were as well, so his surface is a lot easier to putt on. So a couple of bobbles coming through the fringe.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Oh. Wow. Well, I know why that didn't go in. Because he shot 70 the first 3 days. If that went in, that was for a 69. So why would you want to break that run? They get more money.
True.
4 70s for Aaron Townsend. I always knew he was a consistent golfer, but that takes it to another level.
That's consistency to a T. Would you be happy with that? If someone said to you at the start of the week, 70, 70, 70, 70?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be in here with you otherwise. I just went 75, 75 instead. Matty Miller. This to join Andrew Martin at 11 under par in a share of 6th.
Got to go a little bit.
Very happy with 2 putts from that position, and I tell you right now, he'd be thrilled to be walking off with a par.
Matty's obviously flying off to Japan final stage tomorrow morning, so consistent week leading into their 6 rounds. Yeah,
it's a marathon, isn't it? All Q schools are. European Tour School, the US Q School for the Corn Ferry Tour. What about the LPGA qualifying series they just had in Pinehurst? That was over 8 rounds. 10 rounds, I believe.
Was there a cut?
After 5, I believe. Jordan Mullaney has just made a heck of a par there at 18. My goodness.
It's a very nice way to finish.
Wow. Big putt too. That kept him inside the top 10.
It's very nice. Like that sort of walk off, smiling, guns on your scorecard and watch other guys come and do that.
Well, we are going to get a sensational camera angle here and a look at Matthew Miller's putting stroke. It's unique would be an understatement. It's a technique that he has obviously fine-tuned very effectively over the years. But one thing I mentioned yesterday is he gets the ball rolling off the putter face quicker than most people. If you slow down a professional hitting the ball when they putt, most of the balls skid on top of the putting surface for a period of time. Matty gets that ball rolling just about quicker than anyone.
I should say he gets the best true roll out of his putts, which obviously gets the ball along the ground and lets the natural break take over.
Oh, Matty, you let me down. Goodness, what a disappointing finish for Matthew Miller after that sensational hybrid into 18. That's going to be a 3-putt bogey. Drops him back to 9 under par. Still a good week, and he'll have some good vibes going up to Japan, where he can hopefully earn his tour card.
Obviously, had a chat with Matty yesterday, and he said he felt like he was some good games around the corner. So, good luck to Matty next week, and hopefully he can go and get it done in Japan.
Okay, well, let's go back to Charlie Dan. He's not on the 18th fairway. He's in the left rough. We thought that his tee shot may have hit the tree, and I think it has, but he's fortunately avoided the H2O over there on the left-hand side. But very, very awkward shot from here, isn't it, James?
Yeah, it's a long way, and pretty much the whole area between Charlie and the green is all water, so a lot of water cover, and he's going to have to get good contact to get it on. It'd be a great shot to get on the putting surface. Probably going to aim pretty close to where Jordan hit it into that right bunker. And once again, if the wind does take it close, then it's an absolute bonus, but you're really happy to make 4 from here. Likes it.
Oh, where is it, Charlie? Where is it?
There, I think he's He doesn't even know. Obviously, Charlie didn't say it either.
He's relying on his playing partners. We'll try and get confirmation to you as soon as possible. He doesn't know. Nobody knows. The Phantom golf ball, where is it?
We'll find out in 2 minutes' time. As you can see, he's walking from a long way back, so it would have been a very difficult second shot compared to where Elvis and Andrew are. A1 and in the middle of the fairway.
Well, he's having a conversation, is Charlie Dan, with Andrew Martin at the moment. I'm wondering, let's see how correct I am. I'm wondering whether he's hit it in the water. Now what he's trying to confirm is where the ball crossed.
Yeah. You can see they've just come to a confirmation of where they both have agreed on, and Charlie will walk up there and get his point of entry and plays fourth from there.
Are you hearing any volume between those two players? Well, a good camera angle here of Andrew Martin, what he's facing for his second shot. He really is in the mayor's office here, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Be hitting it 20 feet right. The wind obviously coming off the right as well, so. He's talking to it.
Yeah, Lance Softy said, oh, look at this golf shot from Andrew Martin.
Great
Goodness.
shot. Reckon we'll see many closer than that today?
Ooh, I wouldn't think so, and if we do, I think they've pulled it. That is a sensational shot.
Great angle here from what Elvis.
Well, I mentioned, James, that it was a great tee shot for Elvis because he can just hit a fade in there, but this flag is probably a harder pin for him.
Yeah, obviously it can be uncomfortable when the wind is coming from directly behind you.
Where is it? Okay, middle of the
Safe.
green.
Yep.
That's a good shot from Elvis Smiley.
There's some claps from the supporters out there, so doesn't.
Have you played Southport Golf Club on the Gold Coast?
Yes, I have.
That's where Elvis hails from. He won the Australian Junior Championship there this year. I played the golf course 2-3 years ago. I thought it was a pretty tricky golf course.
Yeah.
He shot 13 under par for 4 rounds. Phenomenal. All right. Current PGA Tour Champions player David McKenzie on the tee at 18, driver in hand.
He's the right-hand side. He's looking. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
That's
handy.
safe. Yeah, that's Andrew Martin territory right there.
I can imagine David's strength is his driving.
Very, very accurate player. He's a winner on the PGA Tour of Australasia. He played the PGA Tour in America back in the day.
You have the young Kiwi, James. Stasi's. Sorry, James. Might have stuffed that one up on you. But he's got driver as well.
Nah, I was following it.
Had a good
and it just
year.
sort of didn't carry.
Second year as a pro.
Yeah, not that I could see.
Perfect. All right, Corey Crawford has the driver out on 18. Over on the right-hand side. He's currently 9 under par inside the top 15.
Oh, I'm not seeing it.
Beautiful, smooth golf swing. He likes it. Wow, if the ball is up there, that is, oh my goodness. That's not even a fair fight where he's hit that. That's gone over 300 metres straight into the wind. Well, a birdie here for Corey Crawford, and that'll put him inside the top 10. When are you coming to me? I can't hear anything. Well, our first guest today is a man that drew the short straw Thursday and Friday. He was paired with me the first 2 days. Jason Norris, how are you, Jace?
Good, thanks, Ewan. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Good round today, 68, 8 under par inside the top 20.
Yeah, thanks for showing me how not to do it on Thursday, Friday, Ewan.
That wasn't too difficult, mate.
It was good fun. No, I enjoyed your company.
Absolutely. Well, you last won in Fiji back in 2017, four-time winner here in Australia. What have you been up to since?
Trying to get my body back together, to be honest. It's been a hard road back. I got injured first event over in Europe, and it's been a pretty tough run for 18 months, but it's starting to come back now and finding some form, which is nice.
Asia this year, you were playing up in Asia?
Did play Asia, had pretty much everything in Asia, but the game wasn't good. I played poorly in the big ones, which is where you got to make your money, and then started playing well the last couple of months, made every cut, but no top finishes, so
okay,
it's gone.
Well, 68 out here this morning. We're starting to see the breeze get up a little bit. Obviously, we were talking earlier in the week about how firm the greens were Thursday, Friday. Has there been any changes the weekend's worn on?
They did. Actually, I would guess they didn't cut the greens the last 2 days. They slowed up quite a bit. I think they got scared, I would imagine, but they were perfect for Aussie Open preparation the first 2 days. The greens were as good as you can get out here. And then I heard a rumour they got asked to slow them up and soften them up a little bit, but I was really enjoying them the way they were when they were hard. But they're pure greens and it's in good nick, but they were definitely a bit slow the last couple of days. Oh, who rolled that in?
My goodness, Charlie Dan. Well, I can tell you that was actually for a bogey. He hit his second shot in the water. He had to drop it back about 100 metres away. Still not on the green for 4. What are you doing that? So are you happy that you made a bogey on the last? Do you walk off happy or disappointed?
You definitely got to be happy after a 5 like that. He was looking at. He was definitely looking at 6, wasn't he? I think he'd be walk off going, I've just saved the shot there.
Well, James Greason was just talking about 10, 15 minutes ago how going cross-handed has really revived Charlie Dan's putting career, and he's certainly evidence of it there. Now, Elvis Smiley, Australian junior champion, this for a birdie down the hill. Oh, wow, what a great roll that is. What a tough pin placement on 18.
I thought it was pretty easy. I made birdie, but
right.
no, it is. And anyone that's played this course, it's a tough tee shot up 18. The wind's into you off the left, and it's really hard to get it up and drawing on the left. You don't want to hook it into the water, but once you get there, it's still not an easy shot in, is it? Front left pin, you just target a little, you're in the water, and say good night. But yeah, it's a good finish hole.
Well, Andrew Martin, he's been in good form of late. He had a top 5 at the Thailand Open just a few weeks ago. He was top 10 at the Victorian PGA Championship. He's 5 under par today. He's moved into a share of 6th position. This sensational second shot into 18. This to move to 12 under par. He'll certainly go into next week's Australian Open full of confidence.
Yeah, he's played well in Asia this year. I've seen him a fair bit, and he's been in good form and shooting good scores every week. I think you give guys the moz sometimes, Ewan, with some of those words. I would have bet on him to make it, especially Matt Miller a little earlier when I was watching.
Perhaps Andrew Martin saw me putt the first 2 days.
That's a good week for him again.
Well, look at the current
Younger.
leaderboard. Josh Younger, wow. First time this week he's had his nose in front. Well, since Thursday anyway, he was the first round leader. 18 under par. Justin Warren there at 17. Minwoo Lee, Travis Smythe 16 under. Andrew Dote 15 under par. So really the winner is going to come from those top 5.
AV Jennings design communities where there's plenty of parks, pathways and playing fields for kids to have some fun. And it's not just kids. An active lifestyle is good for all of us. It's why thousands of people make their home in an AV Jennings community every year.
Well, the wind is up. There's a bit of smoke haze out there at the moment. Mentioned before, there's been some pretty ordinary bushfires in the region. Well, Jason Norris, thank you very much for being our first guest here on Sunday. Good week this week, top 20, and we wish you all the best coming into the Australian Open, the Australian PGA Championship, and everything that lies ahead.
The fun summer of golf in Australia. It's beautiful. We love it.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks, Ewan.
Thanks, Jace. All right, well, let's get back out there to some live golf. The 18th. James Anstis from the right side of the fairway. Well, he's got a good angle here, James Anstis, but if there's any difficulty, the fact that he looks like he's just on a little bit of a downslope.
So I'm just going to promote a bit of a draw. And with the wind being off the right as well. Talking to it. Maybe leaning a bit right.
All right, well, it's not his best effort, but it's certainly a safe shot. There's a lot of golf balls over in that vicinity today.
Yeah, well, the risk and reward, obviously, with trouble being so close on the left-hand side. That's, you know, a two-putt you're going to back yourself to make, where if you do hit it left, then it's very hard to make par. Here we got Croft. Perfect spot here on the left-hand side, middle left fairway. Obviously means that he can get some spin and land it up on the right and use the contour of the green to get it nice and close. Obviously visualising the shot. He's on a little bit of a downslope, which isn't going to be a problem, seeing how he's only got a wedge in his hand.
It looks like he's taking dead aim.
Start a little right. There's a slope in there.
Oh, good shot.
Better and better. That's a very smart, aggressive shot there from Croft.
Yeah, it's been a good week. He was tied third last year at the Victorian Open. He's been a winner up in Papua New Guinea.
Did you ever play in Papua New Guinea?
I didn't. No, I never harboured any desire to go up there. I've heard it's quite an interesting cultural experience.
Yeah, no, it's a fun week for the members get behind it at the golf club, and they put in some pretty good nick for the tournament, so I think I've definitely kicked him off and hasn't really looked back ever since.
Well, I think that's one of the great things about golf is that you get to play your trade really all over the world, anywhere. I know the Sunshine Tour in South Africa, they play in countries like Zambia, Tanzania. Latino American Tour, you go to Peru, you go to Colombia, you go to Paraguay, Chile. I mean, these are countries that, you know, a lot of them are bucket list countries. People really want to go and travel there on holidays. Yet as a golfer, you almost take it for granted because, you know, you're chasing where there are tournaments. And sometimes it's easy to forget that you're doing things that people would really give their left arm for.
Yeah, and some guys are obviously very different. Some guys will do their prep for the tournament and then go and explore. Because whether they're playing the Pro-Am on the Wednesday afternoon or they have Wednesday afternoon off, they can be like, it's a great opportunity to go and see what the local city you're in has on offer. And I guess the first time you go there can be very different than the 10th time you go there, but at the same time you still get to travel, and you know, it's a pretty cool lifestyle if you make the most of it.
David Mackenzie's found the back bunker here at 18. You can see that sand is pretty soft. He's got a good lie. Needs to be aggressive with this.
I'm sure he'd be backing himself to get up and down. So we can land it quite soft and get a little bit of check out of the bunker. So be a nice one to finish on, a little up and down here on the last.
Well, not his best effort. He's had a couple of great seasons over in the US on the Champions Tour, David Mackenzie. He actually started out over there with no status at all. Monday qualified his way onto the tour and ended up making enough money to make the Charles Schwab Cup playoffs. Yet to claim a first victory, but he's had a couple of close calls.
Just keep knocking on the door, playing consistent golf. Takes care of a lot of things.
Be a great tour to get onto. I've been lucky enough to cover the last two US Senior Opens, and I mean, certainly some of my idols out there and just the greatest players of all time. Tom Watson's and Jack Nicklaus is not playing anymore, neither is Gary Player, but they're out there quite frequently, and you know, Steve Stricker's out there now. Phil Mickelson's going to be out there this year.
Some of the scores they shoot are incredible.
Oh, still got tons of game. Vijay Singh.
James coming from the middle of the green. Sit down a little bit.
Oh, that's not a bad effort. He's lagged it up there. In fact, it's an excellent effort to about a foot. I was just going to say that there for the viewer is actually where leaving the flagstick in helps. We couldn't see the hole there almost until the ball had finished.
It's a pretty safe par here for James. Pretty solid week there. He was first group out yesterday, so tee time changed a lot from yesterday. He made a little little move on moving day on Saturday, so it's a pretty good weekend for James. Hopefully with the bucket hat and the long sleeve. Sun smart.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember Terry Price used to don that attire quite regularly out there. We'll avoid the golfer's tan, that's for sure.
Farmer's tan, it looks like.
All right, Corey Crawford, this to get to 10 under par and to jump inside the top 10.
Be a nice one to hole. Cap off a solid week. He likes it.
I'll get out of the way, caddy. Oh, tell you what, I loved his putting stroke there. I've watched him hit a few shots. I've never really seen him hit too many putts, and I loved how firm he kept his wrists through the ball, kept that putter very low to the ground.
Another person that comes across as very much a professional. Everything he does, composure. Looks very relaxed out there.
Sharp dresser as well.
Yeah, that Nike goes a long way, doesn't it?
Does.
Schmick.
Little plug there from James Grierson if you're keen to help a young man out. He's your man.
It's been a nice one to hole and make par for Mackenzie. But he's holed a few of these in his career.
He has. This has got to break quite a bit right to left, doesn't it?
Yeah. A little bit downhill. A couple cups outside the right. So you can see the hole there in the screen. It's pretty...
Just lost speed. He used to putt with a belly putter for years and years, David Mackenzie, but of course they were banned back in 2016. A few players have struggled since that rule came into effect. Tim Clark, Carl Pedersen being a couple. I know Keegan Bradley and Webb Simpson both struggled for quite a while. We'll be playing next week at the Australian. All three of those players will be. Tell you what, it's going to be an exciting Australian Open Championship, one of the best fields we've had in years. All right, back at 17, Darren Beck, the winner of the WA PGA Championship. This is his tee shot. Oh, come on, catch the slope. Look at this, come on.
It's a great shot there. Becky is a bit of a ball striker. Love that one.
Coached by John Serhan.
Correct. Johnny's got a few players out here this week, including Trav.
Darren Beck's playing alongside Peter Wilson. And this man, Jordan Sunic. Now, Jordan Sunic, he's a three-time winner on the PGA Tour of Australasia. He could be the first player I've ever seen bring their dog around the golf course during a tour event yesterday.
I did see him walking his dog yesterday. I believe he's probably taking good care of him at the moment.
He's trying to trap it in there, hit a flat draw. We got the flat part right. That is over where the flag was on Friday, and that is going to be a diabolical two-putt.
Very, very difficult. Be interesting to see how close he has to go to the fringe when we get up to the green there.
If anyone can two-putt it, he can.
Yeah.
Peter Wilson. I mentioned yesterday, Peter Wilson was a runner-up at the 2012 New Zealand Open behind Jake Higginbottom. Jake Higginbottom won that week as an amateur, so Peter Wilson actually collected first place prize money.
Be a nice one to get. Is that?
Certainly helped the money list, that's for sure. Helped the bank account.
Got Micheluzzi on the bag as well. Be a nice one to...
Hope he's paying him well.
See Mika only just turning pro. To a very good amateur career.
Peter Wilson, he's won multiple times on the Japanese Challenge Tour. He too a former winner of the WA PGA Championship. Usually pretty solid with the irons. Oh, it was online.
It's a pretty good shot.
Well, James, you're on camera.
Oh. That's fixing up my cord.
That's understandable. Well, it's an interesting scenario out there right now. We've seen a lot of good golf on the 17th and 18th holes, but the 5 players at the beginning of the day that we said most probably going to be there at the end. They've all remained in contention throughout the day. Josh Younger now has his nose in front. What are you seeing? Are you still? I know you like Travis Smythe at the beginning of the day. Do you still think he can get it done?
Yeah, obviously the holes right now are very scoreable as well, early in the back nine. So it'll be interesting to see what they do come to when we get to see them on 17 and 18. But I still think I'd love to see Trav win. Obviously, it's the other guys as well, but he has won before, and obviously Doty has as well, and Doty's hanging in there pretty close. So it'll be good to see what happens when we get to see them on 17.
Exactly. All these players coming through your picture at the moment. Darren Beck, I mentioned he won a few weeks ago, but every dollar counts, every shot counts, because whilst these players might be coming 15th or 25th, at the end of the season, just one shot might be the difference between not keeping a card here in Australia. It could be the difference between finishing 12th on the money list and 9th, and the top 10 gets you exempt to final stage of a Q school in Europe or the US. So it's very, very important, isn't it, to grind over every single shot?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously makes a big difference over a whole year, because everyone can catch, they can feel like they've missed out on a shot here or there, but every shot counts, and there's no more so than when you look at the end of the year and you get to see that, oh yes, I made birdie in the last at Twin Creeks. That got me a start in final stage of Europe or final stage of Asia. So yeah, it's a long year and there's a lot of holes of golf played, but every shot does count.
What's Jordan Zunic facing?
A difficult two-putt. It's a long way away.
So to me, it looks like where he's walking right now is up the tier there. Then it'll go down the other side. I know you mentioned before how close he'd have to go to the fringe. What are you thinking? Will he have to putt it along the fringe at all?
I think it's definitely going to have to go off the green at some point. Probably when it gets to in line with the rake is when it starts to flatten out a little bit. So it's obviously going to be he'll back himself into two-putt, obviously, as everyone would. But
I wonder if he contemplated using a sand wedge or a lob wedge here, take that slope out of play. We'll soon find out. This is tracking. It looks pretty darn good. That is an excellent putt.
That's a great putt. That's great speed there. And obviously didn't have to go close to the fringe is what I thought, so proved me wrong.
Spent the past couple of years playing on the European Challenge Tour. He did have a top 10 this year over there in Spain.
Yeah,
he'll be over there again next year.
You know that when Jordan gets hot, he can definitely win, so it's only a matter of time before he wins on another tour.
2017, he lost a playoff to Cameron Smith at the Australian PGA Championship. I remember round 3 there, he double bogeyed 17 and bogeyed 18 to shoot 8 under par 64, and that is a tough golf course. Oh my goodness, that was some special round of golf.
There was a couple of us there with a bottle of champagne if he did win the playoff with Cam, but obviously Cam went back to back and it's definitely gone into bigger things in the PGA Tour as well. So. And the President's Cup this year.
Yeah, absolutely. In a couple of weeks' time. Now, Peter Wilson up the hill. Is this going to move to the right?
Yeah, I think just at the end there. Now looks pretty... It's a good part. Obviously, he was disappointed that he didn't go in, but still, that's a great putt there. Perfect speed.
9 under par. It's a solid week. Currently inside the top 15.
As we said, the hole is playing over par for the week as well, so a birdie, definitely not dropping any shots to the rest of the field. And today it's going to be playing even harder with that back flag. We haven't seen many close at all.
It's a terrific purse here this week for the players as well. $400,000, the winner $65,000 richer. Who will it be in a few hours' time? But it certainly has a rich history, this championship, an illustrious list of champions. Greg Norman, Kel Nagle, Peter Thompson, Ian Baker Finch, Craig Parry, to name a few. Then in recent times, well, our last 2 winners both compete on the European Tour, Jake McLeod and Jason Scribner.
It's not just that either, it secures you a job for the rest of the season and next year as well, so it means you can plan, which is a big thing. We've got Becky.
Yeah, he could plan. He's a winner recently.
Oh. You like that for a long time there, just burn the right edge.
You know, when he won that WA PGA Championship 6 weeks ago, he shot 30 the back 9. He had 8 putts the back 9. You ever had 8 putts for 9 holes?
Not off the top of my head. I don't think so. Not to win either. Like that's even more impressive, the fact you can do it when the pressure's really on.
He must have holed 3 putts from over 40 feet. He holed 2 from off the green.
And I saw the video on PGA Tour from there as well, and it looked like the Oz PGA, the putts were rolling end over end, and they never looked like missing. So it's what you got to do when you get hot.
Take full advantage. Jordan Zunich's been hot on quite a few occasions in his career.
Couple of feet here to tidy up, which would be a very happy 2-putt.
Another man who putts cross-handed.
If you were to start now, would you putt cross-handed or would you go conventional?
No, I think I'd putt whatever felt naturally, but I can see certainly all the benefits of putting cross-handed. I know for me personally, all my weaknesses are eliminated when I do go cross-handed. It's just then a matter of becoming comfortable and trusting it. Darren Beck cleaning up for a par. He does.
3 threes.
Having a good week.
Very consistent.
Josh Younger still has his nose in front. He's now at 19 under par, 1 stroke ahead of Justin Warren. Min Woo Lee, Travis Smythe right there at 17 under. Andrew Dote dropping back to 14. Any one of those top 4, I think, is going to claim the Kellnagel Cup.
Yeah, it's very, very, very close there. No one's really separated themselves from the other 4 guys, so everyone's still got a chance.
James Marcassani, he was top 10 recently down in Gippsland. Marcus Fraser, runner-up at the Victorian PGA in October. Max McArdle, he's made 16 of 19 cuts globally this year. Jake Higginbottom, even par on the round. Great round of 65 from Ben Eccles, 66 from Brodie Martin and Peter Lonard. All of these players with very, very solid performances this week.
And as you can see, a lot of guys shooting 70 or being 2 under for the day. So we haven't seen a really, really low round today, which obviously does show that the golf course is playing a little bit tougher. But there's still a lot of guys shooting under par rounds. And
we saw Josh Younger 63 on Thursday. Andrew Dote 61 Friday, a new course record. Broke Jake McLeod's 62 course record from last year. Yesterday, Justin Warren bogeyed the last for a 64.
Justin's obviously getting it going quite early here on the first and the third round, so he obviously can get it very comfortable out there.
Well, back to the 18th tee we go. All 3 of these players currently at 9 under par. Darren Beck has the 3-wood out.
Yeah. Becky can, little one, turn it over. Great drive of the ball, but doesn't look like he likes this one. A bit disappointed there. See what he's got in for his second shot. Now Jordan, next to tee off.
Iron out.
Great iron player.
Oh, wow, look at that ball flight.
Expect to see this one scuttling up the fairway. Go.
Yeah, that's an impressive shot.
Yeah.
Long way back, though.
It is, but once again, it's in the fairway, so at least he can control lie and everything, and be quite happy with that. And going with driver, little.
Well, I think this is the first player we've seen tee off over on the left half of the tee.
Yeah.
And I actually like this play because it allows you to aim more up the right and turn it over, in my opinion. Let's see if you can take heed to my advice.
He likes it.
Yeah, bent down, picked up the tee.
Clap from behind.
No draw. Where is it? Come on.
That's
absolutely
perfect.
Isn't it ever? Yeah, it's not quite as far as Corey Crawford's, where you got a good look, a good look from behind there at what the players face with their tee shots. But earlier today, both James Grusin and myself took a little more in-depth look at what the players will have to do on number 18.
The final hole here at Twin Creeks Golf and Country Club ensures the players are kept on their toes right until the very end. At 402 metres, it's arguably the most difficult tee shot on the golf course.
Yeah, definitely. So if you look straight down the fairway, we've got the bunker at 258 and the tree that hangs over the edge of the fairway, which is at 210 metres, so it means that the guys really have to do is slot their tee shot.
And you've also got water on the left. Yesterday, we saw a lot of players take drivers straight over the tree. We saw players take long iron off the tee. We saw Minwoo Lee, our co-leader, hit an iron down the right-hand side and it ended up in trouble and made a bogey, So how do players make up their mind what shot they're going to hit, what club they're going to take?
Well, I think today with the wind off the left, it is going to be very much whatever you see. Obviously, it is quite firm, so the guys can chase something out, but it really depends on how confident they feel and what they have to lose or gain on the hole.
All right, well, I've got my new driver here. Why don't we try and emulate what the players are going to feel this afternoon? I'm taking the honour. See if I can embarrass myself first. A little high draw.
That's perfect. I think most guys will take that today.
All right, well, you've got a bit to chase there, son.
Let's see what we've got in store.
I think I might have teed that one up a little bit too high.
That's right. It worked for you, so let's see if I can do the same.
Oh, wow.
I'll put this in the bag.
That's absolutely pure. I think you found your new driver there. Well, today, James, the whole location on this green is fun, but fraught with danger, so let's go and take a look at it.
Let's go.
Well, James, I referenced back on the tee that we had a fun pin placement here on 18. It's 9 paces on. Pretty serious trouble awaits if they're a little bit off.
Yeah, you would expect to see a lot of guys having the 30-footer from coming in from the angle that I'm walking from, and we might see a few balls going to the water, so it should entertain for a good afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just like 17, I said 3 was a good score there. You make 4 here on 18, you're certainly not doing yourself any harm.
Well, James, a lot of players are chasing these out here this afternoon. They're chasing birdies with plenty of beautiful wildlife on display out here. There's also some nasty things too, snakes roaming around, but certainly it epitomises Australia right there, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've definitely got all the wildlife out here. I'm sure that the boys would love some birdies, as many as possible coming home, so we'll see what they can do. But
well, that bird right there, it just wanted to get I guess you could say a bird's eye view of the clubhouse, didn't it? It really is a wonderful clubhouse here at Twin Creeks.
You got me there, I had nothing. Cheesy.
Well, you can see by the picture there that what I was saying before, it is just a little bit smoky, a little bit hazy out here.
There's that tree that we talked about at 200 that Darren wasn't able to navigate around. So,
well, we saw Charlie Dan earlier hit this tree off the tee.
This is what Charlie faced. Let's see if Darren can get it up there on the dry land.
Well, I'm wondering if he's laying up here. He's aiming well to the right. He's either trying to sling a big draw in there.
Staring it down. Looks like he's pretty safe. That's a smart play there.
And it really is a fairly straightforward pitch from there. He'll have a good angle up the green.
Yep. Yeah, obviously going for it. He's probably not going to make 3, but it's bringing in 5 or 6. So he's obviously taking out, unless he chips in, he's taking out birdie, but he's also eliminating a big number, and hopefully he can back himself to get up and down.
He's a good fella, Darren Beck. He was a winner at the Queensland PGA in 2008. He won the Brunei Open in 2009, and then a 10-year dry spell before capturing that title in WA 6 weeks ago. So really great perseverance for the New South Welshman. Now Jordan Zunic, second shot.
Perfect spot here. A little bit further back, but great angle in. Starting a little right.
Easy to do, isn't it? Not only is there water on the left, but when you're playing back into the breeze, it's easy just to get a little bit ahead of it and leave that ball out to the right.
Yeah, and obviously, like we said, we've seen that similar putts from that today, and I'm sure he'll be, especially after his effort on 17, he's obviously got his speed putting down pat.
He's got John O'Painter on the bag there, former professional at Avondale Golf Club. Now, Peter Wilson's second shot.
He's just died down altogether. Doesn't like it.
Oh, that is going to be a very difficult 2-putt from there for Peter Wilson.
little bit disappointed with that, as we saw.
Especially after such a good tee shot. You mentioned David Micheluzzi on his bag there. He reached number 2 in the World Amateur Golf ranking before turning pro about 6 or 7 weeks ago. The top 10 and an 11th place in his first 2 events as a professional. And that's what I was talking about before.
Bring your dog to work. It's pretty cool.
It certainly was. Well, one of the men in contention right now is Travis Smythe. And after yesterday's round, he caught up with us for a quick chat.
Greens were much softer than yesterday. Still bounced on a little bit, but I mean it was so much softer, so it made it a little bit more gettable. And yeah, the birdies were rolling. Playing with Justin today, who shot I think 8 in the end, was awesome. We were just feeding off each other, kept holing 10 footer after 10 footer. It just makes you feel like you can keep on going when you're playing with someone that's doing that well. And there's no leaderboards out there, so you don't really know what other people are doing. And I definitely knew what he was doing and tried to do the best I can to keep up. I've played pretty well all week. I mean, you just got to get lucky a few times to take it to that next level, like 8, 9, 10 unders. Growing up part of the Golf New South Wales program, they've put so many hours and money towards me in my career, and I wouldn't be where I am without Golf New South Wales and Golf Australia. So to be able to win, our state open would be amazing, and it would make them proud and it would make me proud. So, don't want to think about it too much just yet. Minwoo's pretty established already, he's such a young bloke. He knows what on how to win with his junior events and amateur events. So, I mean, he's not going to be nervous. If anyone, you'd think Justin might be, but he didn't show any signs of that today. So we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully the crowd gets behind all of us and we all, put on a show for you guys, and hopefully I'll win by 1.
Well, he's won before, and he's right there in contention still. Now, Darren Beck, we saw him lay up here at 18, third shot.
Yeah, Becky's got 60 metres here.
Oh, goodness. It's just a pure chunk there, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't really have any words to explain that one. That was...
well, I can tell you it was a very poor shot. I know he'll be very, very disappointed. It's still been a good week for Darren Beck, 9 under par, and if he 2 putts for a bogey here, he's certainly not going to be the lone ranger walking off 18 with a 5. But it's amazing the difference between the feeling that he will have if he 2 putts that walking off with a 5 versus Charlie Dan, who hold it from off the green making a 5. It's the same score, but one was certainly a little more exciting, more dramatic and action-packed than the other.
And obviously Matty 3-putted as well, so it's even different feeling there, where Matty thought he would have hit it close in the fairway. So
hey, you're getting a good camera angle of what Darren Beck is facing here. It looks like it's got quite a severe right to left slope.
Okay, it'll just be uphill the first 15 feet, and then it'll start to go down, and then right to left. So you can imagine he's gonna putt from there, and definitely not a gimme 2 putt.
I wonder if there's any thoughts of chipping this. No, he's got the putter out.
Jordan's obviously in a pretty similar position, just further to the right, to the left-hand screen there, and he's got the putter out as well. The surrounds are perfect here. The fringes are immaculate, so you can imagine it'd be like carpet hitting a putt from there.
Well, given the fact that there's been, so many areas of this country, and especially in New South Wales, that have been suffering, record-breaking droughts, and this area as well of Sydney, Penrith City, about an hour west of Sydney, such dry conditions in recent times. The ground staff have just got this golf course in immaculate condition. Jordan Zunic. It's going to be a couple of sensational 2 putts to finish.
Yeah, you saw how pure that ball rolled the whole way there. So you've had a lot of the comments about how good the greens are, and it's probably why scores are so low, because once the ball starts on line, it's got a great chance of still going in.
Well, he's got a great coach, Jordan Zunic, in Warwick Jews. I played a lot of my amateur golf with Warwick at the Cronulla Golf Club. He's now a teaching professional out at New South Wales.
Great view here for Darren Beck's 4th shot. Difficult 2 putt.
See, he's aiming quite a bit to the right.
Yeah, once it gets on there, it'll go a little right and then start tracking back to the left about now. It's pretty good.
Yeah, nicely
Great
done,
speed
Becky.
control.
It's not a gimme, but certainly be pretty pleased with it from where he was.
Another difficult putt here from the centre of the green after Jordan taps in.
I feel like the wind's died down a little bit. What do you think? It was pretty breezy just before we came on air, and whilst it's still blowing 10 to 15, it's not quite as gusty as what I thought it
Especially
was.
not compared to earlier in the week. It was, it's very surprising. It's always, every time I've come in here, it's always been windy, so
Yeah.
the boys are making the most of it with the scoring. But pin positions, especially the last couple of holes, are quite tough as well, so it's obviously still a difficult finish.
Well, a round of 70 for Jordan Zunick. He finishes at 9 under par, currently inside the top 15. Darren Beck's going to fall from that 9 under par number. He has a 3-footer left for a bogey. And Peter Wilson, whilst this is a birdie putt to get to 10 under par, he finishes at 9. I think he's going to be pretty pleased.
Yeah, definitely take the 2-putt from this distance. Let's go up over that little ridge, and then once it gets to the top, it's just going to go straight back down. Could be quite easy to hit this one a couple of feet past, do you think, being downhill all the way? After the second half of the putt.
Yeah, I agree. We did see Matthew Miller come up from a little bit of a different angle. We did see him come up 3 or 4 feet short. You don't want to leave it short because then you're faced with another downhill tricky putt for the next one. And Peter Wilson is going to be faced with that scenario. Woefully short there.
Obviously, doesn't look very impressed with himself there.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be a good... Well, it's close to 10 feet, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously coming back down the hill as well, so can't be as aggressive as if he would have hit it past. But
Tell you what, that's commendable of David Micheluzzi to stick around and caddy for Peter Wilson today.
yeah, I know Pete caddied for Dave when Dave won the 2018 and 17, I think. 17, sorry, Master of the Amateurs, so must be a good relationship between the two, and they travelled and stayed together this week, so see, Dave thought, well, eloping yourself, I may as well come and enjoy the afternoon with you.
He was a semi-finalist this year, David Micheluzzi, at the British Amateur Championship. You win that British Amateur, you get in the US Masters, you get in the British Open Championship. He was 5th at the Australian Open last year. Certainly a very, very bright future.
Poster boy for Fiji International last year as well. Got to play with Ernie Els.
Yeah, that's right. Not sure that would have been. Ernie's going to be here this coming week for the Australian Open. Peter Wilson for a par and 18 to finish at 9 under.
Oh, that's a great 2-putt. Or great second putt.
Well, both, yeah. It's very nicely done. A few extra dollars in the pocket.
Obviously very pleased with himself as well. Be interesting to see how much the scoring average changed. Obviously we know that the 18th was the 6th hardest hole before the day. Be interesting to see if it changes after today's scores, because we have seen quite a few bogeys.
Mm-hmm. Well, Darren Beck's hoping he can make a bogey, because this is 4 or 5. And it's not a gimme. Left centre putt from about 3 feet.
Yeah, very confident. Jamming into the back of the hole there. So obviously disappointing bogey, but at the same time, sort of after the tee shot, it was always going to be a hard par.
Well, Darren Beck drops back to 8 under par. He finishes inside the top 20. We just heard a few moments ago from one of the men in contention, Travis Smythe. The other man up there, currently in 2nd position, Justin Warren. He had a chat to us after the round yesterday.
They describe it as being in the zone. That's pretty much where I was for the first 14 holes. Just everything just straight at the flag, putts were rolling in from everywhere. It was awesome. 9 under through 13 and had a good chance on 14, just didn't quite hit a great putt. But yeah, I mean, very similar to the first day, just really struck my ball well, put it in the right spots, hold some putts. Kind of struggled a little bit the last few holes, just wasn't quite hitting it as close. But I mean, there was some nerves out there, a bit of adrenaline going. The ball just wasn't quite going in the same distance as it normally does. So yeah, another disappointing bogey on the last hole, which is, it's kind of hard. It makes lunch taste a little bit sour, but like I said the other day, you can never complain too much about a 64. I mean, I played really solid, before the eagle on 9. I had 4 birdies in a row on 3, 4, 5, 6. Just, played really solid and, just made a couple of nice little 10, 12 footers and a little tap in here and there. But, yeah, I mean, kind of 7, 8, made a great par on 7, chipped in for par on 7, got a little unlucky off the tee, and then just made a solid par on 8, and then hit a good drive down 9, hit a 4-iron just straight into the middle of the green, and had a good little read on it, and absolutely perfect speed, and it just died in the front of the hole. So it was great. It was a great eagle, and went to the 10th tee with a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum, and played 10 great, just made a solid par, and then made a good up and down on 11 for birdie, good up and down on 12 for birdie. Made a nice putt for birdie on 13 as well, so I just kind of kept it rolling, and then kind of plateaued a little bit the last few holes, but it was still a great first 13 holes out there. It's a different kind of feeling, but it's, for most of us, it's the reason why we play this game, to be up the top come Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, be right there in contention, and if you're not nervous, then there's probably something wrong. So it's hard to manage, and it's going to be hard. It's a position that I haven't been in before, so I'm really looking forward to the challenge, and I'm going to embrace it. But it's going to be difficult, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, he said he was looking forward to the challenge, and he's certainly holding up to that challenge right now. Justin Warren, 18 under par. I can tell you that he's played 12 holes. He's alongside Travis Smythe, who's also played 12 holes. The man out in front, Josh Younger, he's played 14 holes. He's never won. He's had 3 runner-ups here in Australia, so a big, big opportunity for Josh Younger to get the monkey off the back, and Minwoo Lee is still right there as well, 17 under par. Yeah, I can imagine Josh is a little bit nervous, but he'd also be very excited. I can't imagine that he would love to get that first win, and I know the boys behind him won't want him to let him do it easy. But the interesting thing is, once it gets down to tie 6 with Andrew Martin, there's like 30 guys within 5 shots of that. So there's 5 guys that are sort of pulled away from everybody else. But after that, it's so congested, which shows how deep the field is here this week at the New South Wales Open. Yeah, absolutely. Tied 6 there, Andrew Martin amongst others, and there are currently 28 players at 8 under par or better. So, to be exact, you've got 23 players between that 11 under mark and that 8 under mark. So if you're still out on the golf course at 8, 9 under par, you know that just picking up a birdie or 2 coming in can be pretty lucrative, really. It also sadly sort of shows Becky dropping from 9 under to 8 under in the last there can be a little bit of an expensive bogey. And obviously at the same time, if one of the guys like Max McArdle at 11 under made birdie to go outright 6th, that's a big difference in the money order, and especially, like you said, for the Order of Merit for the end of the year. That could be a massive difference between keeping your card or getting into final stage of European Tour next year. What's interesting with Andrew Dote as well there, we haven't spoken much about him today at 14 under par. About 6 or 7 weeks ago at the Victorian PGA Championship, he was in the final group on Sunday, had 35 putts. He has a beautiful golf swing. He kept striking the ball beautifully, giving himself chances, but just couldn't capitalise. Ended up finishing inside the top 5, and I've mentioned that he's a proven winner, but he's pretty much done the same thing here this weekend. 14 under par after 2 rounds, and then just hasn't been able to make any headway over the weekend. Yeah, obviously he had things really going on Friday, and you sort of spoke about it yesterday, that it can be quite difficult once you've had a day like that where a lot of things do go right, that after that it can feel a little bit more difficult because maybe you don't hit it as close. So he'll still be feeling great about his game. It's just obviously it hasn't gone. In saying that, he makes 3 birdies coming home, and he's only a couple behind. Well, one of the fascinating things that I always look at on the leaderboard is the dispersion in age and the different demographics on the leaderboard. That first page, you had Marcus Fraser in his 40s. You had a couple of guys up there who were under 25. Then look at this page. Peter Lonard, 52 years old. Matty Miller, 43. Darren Beck's in his 40s. Peter Wilson in his 40s. Jason Norris, 47 years old. And then you've got Brodie Martins, 23. Ben Eccles, mid-20s. Denzel Iramia, early 20s. You don't get that in any other sport, do you? No, definitely not. I guess that also shows, like, the guys that are coming through the Eminence system, they're coming out, like you said, you spent time with Elvis and Hayden, that they're coming through so good, and they're so young, but great golfers at the same time. So there's a lot of, great product coming through the Australian golf, and puts us in a very great stead going forward. Well, here on the 18th tee, it's last year's Victorian Open champion, and what a victory that was. The Tasmanian Simon Hawkes, he's got the 3-wood out. Started the round at 8 under par, and that's where he is right now, currently in a share of 19th. He loves that one. Playing alongside fellow Cronulla
Jamie Arnold and Marcus Fraser.
Yeah, Jamie just flew back in from the United States on Monday. He'll be next to hit here. He's been playing over there on the Corn Ferry Tour the last couple of seasons. Only just barely missed out on graduating to the PGA Tour for 2020.
Might have a par today. 7 under total.
He's become a very, very consistent player, Jamie Arnold. Makes a lot of cuts. Had a chance to win in the Rochester, New York area this year, but had an unfortunate double bogey coming in on a par 5. Ended up finishing 4th, but that's perfect.
Very much so. Won Tahiti Pro-Am this year as well.
He did, yeah. His brother Scott, a former #1 amateur in the world. His other brother Brett plays off scratch right and left-handed. His sister Ashley, scratch marker. His dad Cole is the pro at Cronulla.
Be a competitive little Christmas game there.
Absolutely. And then Marcus Fraser, his brother Adam played on the Asian Tour for many years as well. This man, what a career he has had. 3 European Tour victories. He's going along well here too.
Didn't like murmuring to himself there. Not the right-hand side.
See his hat there, PK. He represents the new Peninsula Kingswood Golf Course down in Victoria. I had the good fortune of playing there a couple of weeks ago, and that place is absolutely as good as it gets. I mean, everyone waxes lyrical about the Sandbelt golf courses down in Melbourne, but this Peninsula Kingswood, which has only opened fairly recently, redesigned by Mike Cocking and his team, that is going to be something very special. They're going to hold a big international tournament there in the next few years, in my opinion. And Fraser was actually telling me the day that I played there that they've formed a committee down there to actually do that, to host an international tournament.
I've heard nothing but great remarks about the golf course. I haven't played it just yet, but yeah, I've heard nothing but.
You can see in the middle of your picture there, Ashley Arnold walking down there. Well, the crowds are out there. We're seeing some excellent golf. I asked you at the start of the day, who do you like? Travis Smythe, you said. I mean, it really is anyone's tournament. I keep asking you the same question, but I'm gonna put you in the position of a Travis Smythe or a Min Woo Lee or a Josh Younger. How would Josh Younger be out there right now, leading with 4 holes to play? And is his mentality any different to what Min Woo Lee or Travis Smythe or Justin Warren are, only 1 or 2 shots behind?
I guess that's where it just depends on who's like the most composed player out there. They're obviously, they can only control what they can do. So if you start thinking about other things, and obviously that's not going to go in your favour, but you want to do everything you can to control your golf ball, give yourself the best chance of making par, and best chance of making birdie, but guarantees par on every hole, and that way that you've got every chance to win.
Well, we've seen plenty of exciting action out there already today, so why don't we check it out, what we've seen already. This was Aaron Townsend earlier today. This for a birdie on 18. Look at this. This was tracking. Yeah,
it looks great. You obviously got very excited again, but that was a very handy par, and that did look good all the way.
Well, I'm assuming Aaron Townsend knows when the camera's on him.
Yeah, he's hit some good shots, hasn't he?
Hole in one on 17 yesterday. Almost holes that bomb from off the green.
Polanyi's bunker shot.
Yeah, we missed this, actually.
Yeah, which obviously...
And he missed the green on that, but I tell you what he didn't miss was this one. Unfortunately, Matty Miller's right in the way there. Come on, Matty. Got a better etiquette than that.
Don't have to draw pictures on the scorecard. It's all about the score that counts.
Yeah, that was a great 4 at 18. Charlie Dan, well, he made a bit of a mess at 18. 3-wood off the tee, caught the tree, dropped down.
No, it went in the water. We didn't really see that one, but...
No, he didn't see it either, but I can tell you this was for a bogey.
Looked good all the way. And bingo.
What a
Once
finish.
again. Look at him. Little salute to the crowd.
That was for a round of even par 72. Finishes at 6 under par as the Queenslander.
He's quite happy with himself there, although he never really gets emotional.
Peter Wilson, this is for birdie at 17, coming up the hill, breaking right.
Just narrowly missing. Still a great putt. We did see him with some emotions the last 2 holes.
Yeah, he's really the opposite to Charlie Dan. He wears his heart on his sleeve, Peter Wilson.
This is a great tidy up for par on the last. Once again, we saw him quite happy with himself. But 3 and 4 in the last 2 holes. Like we said, you're not going to lose any shots in the field.
Well, earlier we saw Jordan Mullaney having to take a drop off the cart path there, right of 18. Marcus Fraser's ball has wound up in the same situation.
He obviously didn't like his lie on the wood chips there, so he's going to take a drop and take it to the left, so he should have quite a clean lie from there.
And the rules official there from Golf New South Wales just telling Marcus Fraser where his nearest point is. One of the very few players to have won a professional golf tournament in Russia, Marcus Fraser. Back in 2003, that was his first European Tour victory.
Didn't know that one.
Actually, I'm going to blow my own trumpet here. When I had my fortunate enough to have my second win over in the US in 2010, Marcus Fraser won that same week the Ballantyne's Championship in Korea. That was a huge victory in his career. And then, of course, he won in Malaysia just 3 seasons ago.
So he represented Australia at the Olympics as well.
He did. He was first round leader there.
Yeah.
He had the course record there after the first round. I believe he finished 4th in the end.
Still.
He just missed out on a medal, but what a feeling that would have been. That'll be interesting to see next year. One of the Olympic Games in Tokyo, there was a lot of trepidation and hesitation about going over there to compete in Brazil, that Zika virus, etc. But I think next year in Tokyo, you're going to see a lot of the top players who didn't play in Brazil, the likes of Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, etc. I think they'll be playing next year.
And I guess the first year too, everyone's trying to figure out how it's going to work and, you know, the whole competition side of it. So I think after seeing, I guess they were like, well, you guys can go, and next time it's in Tokyo, especially, like, Tokyo's a beautiful city. If you wouldn't want to go there. And also, I don't know about you, but that was the only ever tattoo I was going to get as a kid was the Olympic ring. So I know I would have jumped at the chance for sure. So
Ricky Fowler didn't hesitate.
Yeah,
He got
exactly.
it up to competing there. And one of the things that Ricky Fowler was that he mentioned, both him and Bubba Watson competed there, rooming in the Olympic Village with all the other athletes. That's certainly something you never ever come across out on tour.
No, and like that would just be an amazing atmosphere. The Olympics, like, it's the best of everybody in that chosen sport.
Yeah,
it'd be incredible. And obviously, opening ceremony, closing ceremony. Yeah.
Could you imagine having any more fun than knowing, especially for other sports other than golf, where Olympics is the pinnacle, like athletics or swimming, for example? You'd imagine you train your butt off and make so many sacrifices for a year or two. You go there, you win gold or you win a medal, and you perform at your best. Can you imagine the party that you'd have after it, just knowing that finally you have the opportunity to let loose? And what better place to do it than at the Olympics?
Yeah, and I guess it would go both ways too, because obviously you've got teammates that have done the same thing, and you've had success, you're over the moon, but obviously they haven't. So that would be, it would be incredible. It would be an amazing atmosphere. And obviously you'd be, I don't know about you, but I'd be going to everything possible after my event finished.
Well, in Tokyo, I'd be sampling some of their whiskey, that's for sure. Japanese whiskey is just as good as it gets. Yamazaki in a sherry cask, 18 year. Please. It's next level. All right, Marcus Fraser's not thinking about whiskey at all, although I tell you what, his shirt, Glenn Muir, one of his sponsors, maybe he is.
Who knows? I can't imagine he's thinking about it now, maybe in half an hour's time, especially if he makes birdie here. That'd be... Not happy with... This is obviously a very hard one. So let's say he's got 180 metres and his perfect 5-iron goes 175 and his 4-iron goes 185. You're in between clubs, winds off the right, trouble short. What's your gut instinct saying? One less and hit it a bit harder, or choke down on one? And
it's an interesting one, because where Peter Wilson left it a little bit long, that is a brutal 2-putt from there. But you are better off putting from there than you are hitting it in the water, aren't you?
But then you've got if it lands short with a 5-iron, it's going to chase up. So
well, he's aiming at the right side of the green there. He always leans like it's going way right, Marcus Fraser, but typically it's never that far offline. Oh my goodness. Wow, well, he's holed it yesterday. That is going to be one of the most difficult 2-putts you could ever imagine.
Yeah, it's a lot of green between his ball and the flag.
I believe he's coming off a bogey on 17 as well, Marcus Fraser. So 10 under par. He's still inside the top 10.
I think his sort of reaction, we don't really need to say anything. We know exactly how he's feeling. And obviously he was in between clubs and he's hit the one more and it's come out a little different. That's it.
Well, that ball there, that's Jamie Arnold. We just missed his strike there. That's going to finish right on the edge, not too far away from where Aaron Townsend putted earlier.
Simon Hawkes plays quickly, doesn't he?
He does.
Ball stopped rolling. He was ready to go.
He's set it out there, well right of the flag. Some good hair out here. You're amongst that crew, James.
Yeah, well, I sort of, most of the time I arrive, I think it's a surfboard, not a set of golf clubs. But
well, the man in black in your picture there, Nick Cullen. Mentioned before with Elvis Smiley, it's a little bit of an easier tee shot for a left-hander because you can hit a little bit of a fade around that corner, which is easier to control. Nick Cullen was telling me many years ago, he moved to Atlanta, where he now makes his home. He moved there many, many years ago. He was out there practicing, and one of the cart boys said, "Hey, Ewan, how are you?" Thought it was me.
Sure, he would have taken that as a compliment.
No, other way around.
Chiseled jawline like yourself.
No, I don't think so. And I don't believe Nick Cullen uses just for men, like I do. I'll own up to that, but that's okay.
It's the result that matters, Ewan.
All right, here he goes. Couple over par for the round.
Very interesting pre-shot routine. I saw him taking his glove on and off before he got there. Depends if it hits this tree or not.
Well, maybe he wants it to hit the tree because that water is lurking dangerously over there on the left-hand side. Oh, look at that. It's actually perfect. Wow. Nick Cullen. It's got it out there a fair way too.
It's perfect now. We've got Doug Klein. Loves this venue. Doug actually got an invite in to play last year's Queensland Open, top 10, which qualified him for last year's New South Wales Open, top 10, which got him to the Aussie Open. So,
Queenslander?
Yes, had a pretty quick start to his professional career.
65 yesterday.
Yeah, jumped him up the leaderboard.
Perfect tee shot as well. Just made the cut there at 1 under par. There was certainly a time there on Friday where it looked like the number was going to be 2 under. So Doug Klein's certainly taken full advantage.
Loves the camera too. I'm surprised he didn't give us a little wave and a smirk.
Especially if he knew you were there. Now, Dean Lawson, couple over par. In fact, it's 4 over par on his round. Really struggling today.
Likes that one. And that is quite deep.
Yeah, it is. That's out there. Dean Lawson, fantastic tee shot just past Nick Cullen's ball. Both him and Nick, played over on the European Tour this year, but Dean unfortunately missed 13 cuts. He'll be going back to the Challenge Tour next season, but he's got too much talent to be struggling again in season 2020. Look out for his name up the top of the leaderboards.
There's also a lot about that. Like, he's obviously got his first year out there, so you don't know any of the golf courses. You're unfamiliar with all this, like everything that sort of goes with it. So, you know, the next year he gets back there and gets to play a year, he'll be so much better for it. And it's very cliche to say that you learn more from the bad weeks than the good weeks, but that is actually how it happens as well. So,
well, while we've got a moment there, you look in the back of your picture, just a big thank you to A.B. Jennings and the New South Wales government for their continued support. This great championship. Twin Creeks, this is the 3rd year it's been held at this venue out in Western Sydney. Prior to coming here, it was out at Stonecutters Ridge from 2014, I believe, was the first year. So what's that, 6 years in a row now it's been held out here in Penrith City.
Yeah, and here we've got a very difficult 2-putt from Marcus Fraser.
Very difficult is a gross understatement, in my opinion. What's a good effort here? 4 feet, 5 feet?
Yeah, especially if he can get it just past the flag. So he's got to putt up the hill. It's obviously going to be pretty quick from this point on.
Right over the middle of that spine. Peter Wilson left it way short. Unfortunately, the same for Marcus Fraser. In fact, that's right about where Peter Wilson had to hole his second putt from.
There is a lot to say from that as well, because obviously that did get windy on Thursday and Friday afternoon. So with it not being as windy, the greens haven't got as dry and baked out. So some of the putts would feel scary on Thursday, Friday, and then today, because there hasn't been as much wind, they don't roll out that extra 2 or 3 feet.
Well, we've seen a lot of action already today on number 18, and it's pretty tight out there at the moment. We've seen the 4 players within a couple of shots on the leaderboard on the back 9, and if there is a playoff required, the players will play the 18th hole as often as necessary to determine a winner. So perhaps we'll see a little more action even after the final group has come through this 18th hole. I know Josh Younger, who's currently got his nose in front, he'll be hoping that there's no playoff, but it certainly is a hole where, you know, you could see a lot of drama.
Yeah, definitely. It's a hole where 4 is a very solid score, and Jamie Arnold just hit his birdie putt.
Well, we've just missed Jamie's second shot. Now we've just missed his birdie putt. I can tell you he's currently at 5 under par, Jamie Arnold, so he's 3 over par in his round, which is pretty disappointing coming off back-to-back 67s. He'll be playing at the Australian Open next week. He too makes his home in Atlanta. In fact, him and Nick Cullen both play out of the Druid Hills Golf Club there.
Great golf course.
Dogwood Invitational has been held there, one of the top amateur events in the US for many years. Marcus Fraser not thinking about the Dogwood. Probably not about the whiskey right now either. This for a par to finish at 10 under and inside the top 10.
I'll back him in to make it.
Early walk. Oh, that is a very disappointing finish from Marcus Fraser. Well, the Australian Open Championship next week. Marcus Fraser was in the final group there on Sunday last year at the Lakes. He finished in 4th position.
Very hard to catch Answer last year, wasn't he? He ran away with it.
Played some spectacular golf. I was out there walking the fairways with Abraham the last couple of days and really put on a ball-striking exhibition.
Simon Hawkes for par.
Yeah, good putt, good finish. We've seen some good putts rolled in on 18, haven't we?
There's a lot of guys that play in the PGA Tour that love to come out and play the Aussie Open, win the Aussie Open, and then go and kick on that year.
Well, Rory McIlroy won the Aussie Open in 2013. He won 2 majors the following year. Jordan Spieth won it in 2014, Aussie Open, won 2 majors the following year. Abraham Answer, whilst he never won a major this year, he won the Aussie Open, playing his first President's Cup this year, so there really is a trend, like you just said.
Obviously.
Well, let's have a look how things stand right now. Minwoo Lee, unfortunately, has dropped back to 16 under par. But those top 3 names, well, you've got to think the winner is going to come from those 3, Younger, Smythe or Warren. We've been trying to make predictions all day long. It really is anybody's tournament right now.
Yeah. Obviously, there's only still the 1 win between the 3 of them, so they haven't been in that spot a lot in their careers, but obviously Josh has come second a couple of times, so he'd love to get his first professional win away, and Trav would love to win this and make it the second one, first of his professional career, obviously winning as an amateur, so...
Davey Jennings design communities where there's plenty of parks, pathways and playing fields for kids to have some fun. And it's not just kids. An active lifestyle is good for all of us. It's why thousands of people make their home in an AV Jennings community every year.
Steve Waugh. What a great Australian sportsman he was. Great ambassador. I actually saw him down at Cronulla Golf Club fairly recently, only a few weeks ago. He's a member down there now. Lives in the Sutherland Shire area. He was a great captain of the Australian cricket side for many, many years.
Lovely part of the world, Cronulla, isn't it?
It is.
Recently moved down there.
You live down there, don't you? Yeah. I grew up in that area. In fact, I hadn't spent much time in Cronulla for many, many years until fairly recently, and geographically it's right up there, about as good as it gets. Well, this is the trio of Brett Rankin, Max McArdle and Denzel Iramia on the 17th tee, par 3. Brett Rankin, a winner 3 months ago at the Northern Territory PGA Championship. Denzel Iramia, one of the exciting prospects coming out of New Zealand, turned pro a year ago, graduated from Iowa State University. And Max McArdle's been a very, very solid player for the last few years here in Australia.
New Zealand's punching out some great young players.
Certainly are. So many great golf courses over there. They have a great junior golf program, amateur golf program. Just a wonderful part of the world. And I know the New Zealand Open is just, I mean, where they play that in Queenstown, my goodness, there's not one player that doesn't put that at the top of their priority list.
Everyone raves about it.
Most beautiful and spectacular places on the planet. Brett Rankin, 2 over par on the round. Very disappointing for the Queenslander, coming off that 66 yesterday.
Great golf swing.
He's trying to draw it in there.
I don't see much going wrong with that consistently.
Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Down there.
It's got to cut down.
It's a good shot. It's a little unlucky, but it's probably the closest one we've seen through a few groups now as well.
Yeah. I mean, you're obviously happy with the result, but the same token, you think, God, it's got to go down the slope.
But isn't that one of the hardest parts about golf, is that there's always more? Like, perfect round of golf's actually a hole-in-one in every hole, and I don't think that's ever going to be done.
Well, Kim Jong-il, the North Korean leader, went very, very close many years ago. In fact, it was his first round of golf he'd ever played, and he shot 38, according to the North Korean government. Shot 38 on a par 72. He had 11 hole-in-ones that day. It's obviously a freakish talent.
Yeah.
And he was 60-something years old too.
Natural.
All right, Iramia, tee shot on 17. Oh, look at this.
Just after I said it's the best one we've seen, and Denzel comes and stumps it.
Well, that's actually a very important shot for Iramia, because right now he's in a log jam at 11 under par. And moving to 12 under par and separating himself, that's going to earn him at least an extra $3,000, $4,000, which would be very handy.
Go to outright 6th. Now Max McArdle, 1 under par for the day, also in that log jam for 6th. Wonder if he can match Denzel and hit one in there close.
It was all over it, wasn't it? Safe shot, about 25, 30 feet short of the flag. Not too dissimilar to where we saw Peter Wilson a little bit earlier.
It's a good golf shot. Sure that it looked great in the air, but at the same time he wouldn't be disappointed with that at all.
Well, Denzel Iramia, currently 11 under par, looking to move to 12 under par in 6th position. He's probably a little too far back to claim this baby, the Kel-Nagle Cup, but what a trophy this is. And I mentioned before the names that are on this trophy: Greg Norman, Kel-Nagle, Ian Baker-Finch, Peter Thompson, more recently Jason Scrivener, Jake McLeod, who are playing on the European Tour. And it's certainly, all these players will be looking to get their hands on it, well, really in the next hour.
Yeah, I'm sure the guys will, they obviously wouldn't be thinking about too much right now, but at the same time maybe thinking how good it would be to get their photo with the trophy. So I'm sure they're all excited, and we'll find out very soon. There's only a couple of holes to go, so hopefully all we know is there'll be one guy smiling with it at the end of the day.
Well, Josh Younger's 35 years old. Travis Smythe, 24. Justin Warren, 24. Minwoo Lee, 21. All playing in different parts of the world. Minwoo's been based on the European Tour the past year. Travis Smythe playing on the Asian Tour. And the breeze just starting to pick up a little bit out there right now, isn't it? It was windy earlier, then it sort of died down a little bit. Now it's sort of gusting a little bit again. And one of the difficult things about the two holes that we're seeing on 17 and 18 is they're both playing into the breeze, and then the tee shot on 18 is off the left as well. It's very, very awkward.
Yeah, especially if the wind picks up later, it's going to make, they're going to be a little bit nervous. They're going to have some adrenaline pumping, so it sort of magnifies it. But I'm sure that especially they're playing great golf. The 5 guys that are close to the lead are all playing great golf, so I'm sure that's just going to be another element that they can control.
Well, Max McArdle's hit the worst tee shot of the 3 here at 17, but it was actually a pretty good shot. The other two have both just hit absolute pearlers in there, especially Denzel Iramia.
Yeah, I'm sure, like I said, Maxie would be quite happy with that one, and he's going to have a good putt just coming up the hill and moving a little bit from his left to right. So obviously just stalking it. He said that he's had the same billet here the last 3 or 4 years, and he's had a very comfortable environment this week, so he obviously loves coming out here, and so he's very eager to get his Aussie Open underway next week as well, so it'd be nice to hold this one and pick up another shot and put some pressure on his playing partners to get to that outright 6th. It's obviously a big advantage too when you've played the course a couple of times. It means that your preparation for the week, you know what's in front of you, you know how the course plays, you know what the winning scores are, so you can have a game plan that's pretty cemented leading into the week, and then you can go out and execute it. Lost a bit of speed there, but still, we said that the hole's played over par for the week, so he's not dropping any shots there on the field. He might to his playing partners, but not going to drop on the field overall. Brett Rankin here. Be a nice one to make it, to get back up to 8 under par. That really does show that, like Ewan did in the video earlier on, that the hole is in quite a tough position, and you have to hit a great shot in there to give yourself a birdie putt. And even when you do hit a good shot, the putt's still not an easy one to make. And obviously that's how close that Denzel's hit it. That Brett hasn't hit the worst putt there, and he's still up first.
It's not a nice thing to hear, is it? You're still away.
No, I think it's got to be one of the worst things in golf. But it's a great strength of Brett's game, the short putting, so I'm backing him in to make this one. Yeah.
You're very confident. You're backing them all into hole putts. I like it.
Well, especially when it's coming down to this part, all the guys that we're showing now are not that far off the lead, so they're obviously having good weeks, and to make the most of that, you need to be holing putts. So,
well, our graphic on the tee said Denzel Iramia was 11 under par. I can tell you that he's actually 10 under par. This is to get it back to 11 under par. Go into a share of 7th. Nicely done. Not too many twos on number 17 today, so Denzel Iramia will be mightily pleased with that one. That, as I mentioned, gets him into a share of 7th.
Definitely took advantage of a great tee shot there, and we've got Maxie here to clean up for his 3 and stay at 10 under par.
Well, 10 under par currently in a share of 9th, so he'll be looking to add to his 10 previous top 10s on the PGA Tour of Australasia. Max McArdle, he was 8th earlier this year at the Queensland PGA. He's got good posture, Max. I like the way he walks.
Yeah, very confidently.
South Australian, 34 years old.
He's been playing the schedule over in China the last couple of years, so.
Is that Nick Vogt there?
Yeah, it is.
Nick Vogt finished his round quite a bit earlier, and I can tell you he shot 1 under today, so he finished at 8 under par inside the top 20. Good thing, you know, we saw David Micheluzzi miss the cut, caddy for Peter Wilson. Nick Vogt finishes his round, comes out, watches his friend Denzel Iramia finishing. Both of them went to Iowa State, known each other since junior golf, so yeah, it's one of the really, really cool and neat things you see about the tour here. And that fella in the feeler shirt there, Blake Proverbs, a good young prospect out of Queensland.
Yeah, I think Blake said that his caddy is now caddying for Rankin for the weekend, and Blake obviously didn't have the best first couple of days, but his caddy's picked up another job loping.
Well, they come to the 18th tee, a hole that, well, I'm not sure we can talk too much more about just how difficult it really is, especially this tee shot. And there's difficulty on this hole really from start to end because, all right, you might navigate that tree and the water and the bunker off the tee. Then you've got water to worry about with your second shot. Then once you're on the green, especially with where the flag is located today, 2 putts is no bargain, as we saw with Marcus Fraser.
Yeah, it's like the last 2 holes are both great finishing holes, and it really does, I guess, with Justin and Minwoo both dropping the last hole yesterday, but they're both playing over par, so it's, that's what's going to happen, and it's good to... most of the guys in the field finish par, and they will be quite happy. Obviously, Denzel can go a couple better and finish birdie, and he'd be absolutely loving that, so let's see what he can do.
Gee, that is a solid golf swing.
Yeah, powerful.
Finished 4th at the Asia Pacific Diamond Cup in Japan just a couple of months ago.
And the tee shots like that, you can see why. Next to play, Brett going with the big dog.
You mentioned he does like to hit it a little bit right to left. You can see his stance just a little bit shut off there, trying to move it a little bit around the corner.
Good golf swing. Likes it. It's gone for the tee pickup.
Well, just to clarify, it had his score there at 11 under par. He's actually 8 under par, Brett Rankin, teeing off that last hole. So he's in a share of 20th.
Last player in the group, Max McArdle, also going with driver. Give me a stare. Not really sure where that one's finished up, but he's got his strut going down the last. Are you someone that spends a lot of time in the yardage book or not?
Not really. I went about things a little bit differently to a lot of other players and kind of got laughed at on the odd occasion. But my theory was, I referred to it off the tee a lot because I'd like to know how far it was to trouble, but especially the shots into the green. My theory was that you can, if you hit into the middle of the green or just a little bit either side of it, you're never, ever going to be too far away from the flag. Now, of course, it's a different story. If you've got a wedge in hand, you're going to take a little bit more dead aim. But I think that rule applies for no matter what golf course you play. Hit it in the middle of the green, especially for your average player as well, who may not be as proficient with his iron play. Look at the middle of the green. Forget where the flag is. Give yourself a putt at it.
Yep.
This man's a good iron player, isn't he, Jake Higginbottom?
Yeah, great iron player. Obviously has a good round going today of 1 under the big solo 6th at 12 under par.
Look how far right he's aiming this. He's trying to sling it in there.
Oh, that's going to be a tough.
Well, that's much worse off than where Jordan Zunic is. He'll be chipping that. He's on the green, but he has to chip it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was to bring out the wedge there. Obviously with a great short game as well. Also playing alongside Andrew Dote and Josh Younger. So Josh is up next.
And he is our current tournament leader, 19 under par. He's 1 stroke ahead of both Travis Smythe and Justin Warren, who have come off birdies at 15. So Younger, remember, he birdied this yesterday. He's looking right of the flag.
Started out to the right.
Oh, come on,
this
come
will
on,
get
come
really,
on,
really
come on.
good.
Oh, round of applause for Josh Younger.
It's a great shot.
That's a brave shot too.
Yes, yeah, we saw that bunk. We haven't seen anybody in that bunker, but that bunker shot is extremely difficult. So he'll be very happy to see that one come down off the fringe, and really it's a good birdie putt from there.
Tough day for Andrew Dote. 1 over par on his round. He's back at, I'll tell you, he's back at 13 under par. He's currently in outright 5th position. I mentioned before he was in the top 5 at his previous start at the Victorian PGA Championship. Very consistent. He's a winner earlier this year in Malaysia on the Asian Tour.
Great golf swing.
Oh, it's a pure golf swing. Queenslander makes his home in Charlestown, up in the Newcastle area now.
Some great golfers coming out of there.
Certainly is. James Niddies, Aaron Townsend, Blake Windred, who's just turned professional.
Jai Pickin, who had a great opening round here, and that's a great golf shot as well.
And he's got the head professional at Charlestown on his bag this week in Ryan Smith, who also a good golfer himself. Ryan's wife, Janelle, professional golfer too. You want to play good golf, go to Charlestown.
Sounds like it.
Okay, Denzel Iramia. He's in the fairway at 18, waiting to play his second shot. He's coming off that birdie at 17, so he's 11 under par. He's in a share of 7th. He's only got a wedge in hand, so you expect him to be aggressive here. He was aggressive on 17.
Yeah, and you can hit one in just right of the flag and use a little bit of spin on the slope to get it down there close. So he'd be expecting to hit this one inside 15 feet.
Oh, that is a wonderful golf swing. Wow, what about the speed and the power through the ball?
Looks like he could be playing rugby quite easily. Another cyclone as well as...
It's interesting you mentioned rugby because his uncle Alama played 30 tests for the All Blacks. So he's got the good sporting genes there.
Maxi from the left rough. This is probably quite a difficult shot. You've got into the wind, not much green between you and the water. Rough. Not really going to be able to spin it.
Well, the rough's not that thick here, but what it can do is jump.
Yeah.
And get a little bit of a flyer pretty easily. So in this situation, I mean, you can't play for the flyer though, can you?
Because then if it comes out normal, it goes in the water. So though he's not that far away, it's not an easy shot at all.
Oh, come on. And he got backspin out of the rough. That is a brilliant shot from Max McArdle.
Yeah.
Very aggressive too.
Yeah, that's a great shot. He'd be he would have been nervous in the air. You could see him staring it down, but at the same time, just if it gets a little bit of a puff of wind and comes up short, he's got the same shot again.
All 3 of these players have hit some big tee shots here at 18. Brett Rankin, he's on a little bit of a downslope.
Wedge in hand, so should be able to control the flight quite well. TW shirt on.
Todd Woodbridge. Tom Waterhouse.
There we go. That might be it.
Yeah, I think he's a big racing fan. Well, that's a very disappointing shot with a wedge in hand for Brett Rankin.
That can happen off a little bit of a downslope sometimes. It's quite easy to get the squirt right.
All right, Jake Higginbottom, his tee shot on 17 has found the right side of the green. He's on the putting surface.
Looks like a wedge.
Yeah, he does. Got the glove on. If you're a greenkeeper at Twin Creeks, close your eyes. Although, you got to think with how well he chips, he's just going to pick it off the grass pretty cleanly. Try and nip it and spin it. We saw Gary Woodland do this on the 17th green at Pebble Beach this year in the final round and almost hole it.
Oh, look at that.
This. Come on, come on.
Get in. That's a great shot.
Exquisite.
It's good for
Jake Higginbottom's from Charlestown, isn't he?
I know he's
Newcastle.
He's definitely Newcastle.
He's
playing up in Asia now.
Yeah, he's been up there the last 2 or 3 years. Good play, very, very solid player, Jake Higginbottom. Won the New Zealand Open as an amateur back in 2012. 19-year-old. Went close to winning the Australian Open in 2014 at the age of 21 at the Australian Golf Club. I think at that point, a lot of people expected him to kick on a little bit more than what he has. And although he's having a solid career up in Asia, I still think at the age of 26 he has bigger things ahead.
Yeah, well, even like Australian, he's obviously based at the Australian Golf Club now as well. So home open next week.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the best thing, is that, you know, although people might have expected him to kick harder than he has, he wins next week, and it's.
I think there's no better feeling than being victorious or doing something very, very good at your home club, because you know you've got the home support out there. And to be honest, there's, I experienced it at the Lakes when we used to have British Open qualifyings there and Australian Open titles. There's definitely an element of pressure because people expect you to do well, especially if you've played well there in the past.
Yeah, and sometimes you can be more aggressive because you know the golf course so well. So we'll see how Jake handles that one again next week.
Andrew Dote for a birdie here at 17, and this is absolutely huge for Josh Younger because his ball is right near Andrew Dote's coin. He's going to get a sensational read here of what Dote's putt is doing.
Yeah, and obviously we saw Andrew nearly land where he's finished, and then Josh went up the slope and come back down. So it's...
We know it's moving a little bit left. Does Andrew Dote know that? He's just charged it through the break.
I still like that. I'd much rather see someone hit it a couple of feet past and be aggressive than it coming up short.
Mm-hmm. You would have hated watching me the first 2 days. Absolutely pathetic it was.
No comment.
Well, one man who hasn't been pathetic this week with the putter, quite the opposite actually, is Josh Younger. That round he had, 63 on day one in the afternoon conditions, literally blew me away. I mean, it was just such a sensational effort. He was playing so tough. The greens were rock hard. I believe the next best score Thursday afternoon was 5 under par. So it was a pretty special round of golf. But I think it's fair to say this putt right here, right now, is the biggest putt of his career.
Yeah,
this is go two ahead.
This is go two ahead. Do you think he knows that? Because obviously we heard Trav say in the interview earlier there isn't many scoreboards out there. So do you think he knows the position he's in, or would you want to know?
I'd want to know at this point, absolutely. I think he would know. I really do think he would know, yeah. There's enough people out there walking around checking their scores to know what's going on. But this is to get to 20 under and take a 2-shot lead.
Get there.
No, he knew it straight away.
Still, if you made par on 17 and you got a 1-shot lead, and obviously we don't know what the guys have done in 16 yet, but if you want ahead going into 18, you make par, worst case you think it's going to be a playoff. Unless they're going to go birdie, the last 2 holes.
Be hard pressed seeing these guys play the last 2 holes in 1 under par. Definitely could happen.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think a couple of pars on 17, 18 is...
like gold.
Absolutely.
Don't hit a clean up for par.
The only thing about Josh Younger's putt there, it was very defensive. It'll be interesting to see what he does on 18 with his putt.
And like you said, it's a great thing having Andrew putt before him, but then sometimes when you've seen somebody else's putt do either what you've expected or not expected, you can read too much into that. And that's a great 2-putt / chip putt from Jake.
Well, it goes down in the stats as a 2-putt, but one was a very, very sporty chip from the right-hand side. They will make their way to the difficult par 4 18th hole. Good to see Josh Younger still with a smile on his face. I can tell you that the exterior would be in contrast to the interior.
Yeah, we can see the boys having a chat as well. So obviously it's quite a relaxed group out there as Jake ducks off into the trees.
All right, well, we've heard from Travis Smythe. We've heard from Justin Warren. The other man that's in contention, Minwoo Lee.
I actually scored pretty well. I didn't feel like I played good at all, so I guess that's a bit of confidence. I didn't feel good over the ball or over the putter. Hopefully I can fix that up. Pins were in pretty tricky positions. You couldn't leave it in certain spots, so very smart by the greenkeepers. It was a nice challenge. I've had last grips a couple of times, but hopefully come out on top. In golf is just, you just need to hit one shot at a time, and back then I think it was WAPGA, I was with Rummy and he was playing good and I was just match playing him, but golf can change so quick, so you just need to keep your head in. Whoever plays the best, I guess, but no, it's just, yeah, like I said, just play your game and then hopefully you can make the most birdies.
The penultimate group have found their way to the 18th tee. Jake's answered the call of nature.
And still made it in time to tee off first.
He did. He's got the driver out.
Dan Cobby on the bag. No, Dan has done a lot of caddying over the years. And
calling horse racing.
Yes,
now,
he is. Yeah.
Up in Asia?
I think he was doing it in Singapore. Yeah. That's a serious broadcasting when you've got to know so many names and it changes so quickly. And
I'm not going to try and call golf in the same fashion.
I don't think it's as... Well, this is over 5 hours. That's over a couple of minutes, so...
Actually, be interesting to hear Bruce McAvaney call golf. I like that. All right, Jake Higginbottom. He likes to hit a little bit of a draw. Here he goes off 18.
Hanging out to the right.
How far right being the question?
It's quite easy to...
No.
That's okay. Obviously, it's not that far from the fairway and everything slopes once it is on the right edge of the fairway away, so probably wouldn't have been that far away, and it's...
And it's amazing the dispersion in the distance the players have had for their second shots. The ones that have actually hit good tee shots versus the ones that have left it out to the right. The ones that are leaving it out to the right, we're seeing 170, 180 metres in. You hit it straight, like Brett Rankin did, wedge in.
Yeah, well, obviously the one that does come out a little bit right, squirt right, block, doesn't go as far, and with the wind being into as well, it holds it up even more.
You surprised Josh Younger has driver out here?
No, I think he's got his game plan. He's obviously very confident with driver, so you've got to back yourself, right?
Get lucky.
He's done, looking at it anxiously. Where has that finished?
He's disappointed.
Has he overdone it?
He was hanging like it was going right.
I thought it might have been the other way. I thought he was looking like he'd overdone it.
Very anxious. So we'll find out. It says a lot, doesn't it?
Well, that picture shows you just how much the players have got to move it from right to left off the tee. Well, the difficult thing is, we know that it's easier to move it right to left with a 3-wood, but when it's playing straight back into the wind, you know you don't want too long a second shot in.
Yeah. Doty's obviously going with driver again.
Yeah.
Glisters beautiful drive.
It looks like he's hitting it at about 30% effort and still gets it out there. Look at that. Oh, my goodness, that's stupid how far he's hit that. It's 258 metres to that bunker. The bunker's a good 30 metres long, and it's into the wind. He's hit that 300 metres into the breeze.
And he looked like it was just as blasé as anything, didn't he?
Incredible stuff, Andrew Dote. Played the Open Championship at Birkdale back in 2017. Made the cut there. Makes his home up in the Newcastle region now. Wife Ashley, their parents now.
And obviously that win in Asia this year takes a lot of pressure off because he can plan and pick his schedule of events next year. And looking forward to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, he likes playing up. All his wins have actually come up in Asia. Even the 2 European Tour wins. One was in Thailand, one was in India. The win this year was in Malaysia. I remember that win in India back in 2010. DLF Country Club. Tough golf course that is. Josh Younger, I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, runner-up in 2014 at the Australian Masters. That was an exciting tournament coming down the stretch. Nick Cullen got up and down on the last hole out of the bunker. Miraculous up and down to win by 1. Josh Younger finished equal with Adam Scott that week and James Nitties, just 1 stroke behind. That was an enthralling finish, and sadly the Australian Masters only lasted 1 more year after that. But You see where he's walking here?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He's gone left. What's he done? He's hit the tree. Uh-oh.
Obviously, that's why he was so disappointed on the tee box, and hopefully we can find it. That's the big thing.
I just don't know about driver off the tee. When you're leading the tournament, you know it's... Josh is a great ball striker. He hits it pretty straight, his ball flight. I just think 3 wood off the tee there, Josh. Play for your 4. Should be good enough. Hopefully he's found it, and hopefully it hasn't found a watery grave.
Yeah, let's hope so. Fingers crossed. You'd think with the crowd out there that we should be able to find it.
No. Oh, this is... I'm gutted right now for Josh Younger. Where is it?
Someone...
Oh, they found it.
They found it.
Well...
Yeah, the hard thing is to...
Well, okay, so we know it's hit the tree.
Yep.
We found the ball. We know it's hit the tree, ricocheted there. So you've got a very good idea of where it's crossed that hazard line. That's why he's putting the tee down there. So...
And now this is such a difficult third shot. Obviously, it's 402. That tree we spoke about was at 210. Right? 210.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 190. Obviously, the angle is going to be a little bit different because he's going to have to cover the water. But at the same time, yeah, very difficult third shot coming up from that angle. It's all over the water. So, obviously with Josh having a 1-shot lead and now this being in the hazard, essentially that's going to... The boys make par on 17 and all of a sudden they're all square, but Josh is going to have to make really a bogey's a great score from here now, right, Ewan?
Yeah, no question. I mean, if he makes a bogey from here, you would think that he's going to do... Oh, no. You would think if he makes a bogey, he's going to do no worse than a playoff. But the likely scenario now is, and that's a bad drop from Josh Younger. I hate to say it, but that ball's rolled back. I don't think he's got a backswing now. So now he's got a layup.
Yeah.
So the scenario is, he's now hitting his third shot. He's going to have to lay up to a position probably where he would have been looking to hit his tee shot. Then he's got to get up and down for a bogey with a wedge in, which is going to be very difficult. He might look calm on the outside, but he would be so flustered right now. The heart would be racing.
And he's still... That's the good... Like, that's the hard part, is that, like, that's what he's facing there, and that's obviously all water.
Well, he's got an uphill lie, the ball above his feet. It's rolled into an average lie on the dirt there. And it looks to me like where he dropped it, it rolled back. He may have those reeds in his backswing. You see he's looking at it there.
And now he's got to compose himself to make, first off, a smart decision. And he's obviously... We all have numbers that we like to lay up to, so he's going to do his absolute best to find a number that he's going to hit it to then lay up to give himself the best chance to get up and down. With the reeds in the background.
Well, I can just give you some breaking news that Justin Warren has made a bogey on the 16th hole. He's now dropped back to 17 under. So the situation is Younger 19, Smythe 18, Warren 17, Lee 16. So right now, you've got to like Travis Smythe. Because Josh Younger, the leader, hitting his third shot here, he's only pitching out with a wedge. Where's this one going? He's such a good guy, Josh Younger. I hate seeing anyone struggle like this down the stretch. You want to see someone win the tournament and not lose the tournament.
Yeah.
We'll find out where that one went. Hopefully he can compose. My heart's racing for Josh. I'm frustrated for him right now. Hopefully he can compose himself, like you said, and somehow make a bogey out of this, because right now it's looking like double bogey is going to be the likely score when he walks off the green.
Yeah. So here you go with his second shot from the right-hand side. Bit of an upslope. Difficult shot.
Looked like that was ballooning up into the breeze and going a little bit right, but geez, what Josh Younger would give for the way Higginbottom's played the hole now.
Yeah. I think we've all been there before, is it?
Oh, no question. I tell you, though, what it does highlight is just how strong a hole this 18th is.
Yep. Yeah, and as you can see the flag flapping back into the guys' faces, which means the second shot's playing into with that tee shot off the left, which, with the perfect shot being that little draw, just makes it a little bit harder. And Andrew Dodd obviously in the middle of the fairway here.
Yeah, just makes you think, as I said, like from all the way from tee to green, you've got to have your wits about you. Doty birdied this hole yesterday. Had a wedge in hand. He obviously likes this tee shot. He likes to move it a little bit from right to left, so it's a very favourable hole location for him. What do you think, Andrew Dote? Currently in 5th position. He's got to be pretty aggressive, doesn't he?
Yeah, you've also got to be smart at the same time, but obviously with Denzel and Jake being his nearest competitors at 12 behind him.
Oh, that was all over the flag. That's a wonderful shot.
Absolutely. Now we can see Josh on the left-hand side of the fairway there.
Look, Andrew Dodd holds that. He'll be the only player on the weekend to birdie the 18th both days.
Correct. Especially during our coverage anyway. Caddy's copped a face full of dust there.
Well, if Josh Younger's putt on the previous green was the biggest putt of his career, this is the biggest shot of his career. Somehow he's got to get this up there within 10, 15 feet. 4th shot. Sending it out to the right, trying to sling it back. No, he hasn't done that. And I can tell you that that is not going to be an easy 2-putt either. Oh, Josh Younger. Well, if he 2-putts that and makes a double bogey, he drops back to 17 under par. Travis Smythe currently at 18 under par. Even with this double bogey, he could still find himself in a playoff.
He could. And on the other side of it, you don't know if Trav or Justin are going to know, or even Minwoo, they're not going to know what's happened up ahead. So at the same time, I don't think it really changes your game plan in 17 because you've just got to hit a really good iron shot. And then the same thing on the last, you've got to hit a good tee shot, good second shot.
Or could it, though? In Travis Smythe's position, he's 18 under. Now, if he's a scoreboard watcher, or he knows the situation out there, he thinks Josh Younger's 19. Trav says, okay, I've got to be a little more aggressive on 17. Takes it on.
Brings in bogey. Yeah. That's true. But at the same time, I think Trav's also smart enough to know that anything can happen, and obviously we're seeing that up here. So, yeah. Either way, we've got a very exciting 30 minutes of the New South Wales Open to go. Jake's obviously got quite a difficult bunker shot here. We saw Jordan Mullaney in a similar position earlier, and he hit quite a good shot that went 20 feet past. So Jake's obviously in a tie for 6th here with Denzel at 12 under. So he'd love to get this one up and down. What do you reckon?
Well, it's a long
30 to 40 metre.
Yeah, look, it's a long bunker shot, 30, 40 metres, and plenty of green to work with.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to make this sound extremely difficult, long bunker shot, water behind it. However, he does have the green going towards the flag here, so he can sort of hit, I wouldn't necessarily say a chunk and run, but he can let it release up there a little bit.
Yeah.
After he hits this, maybe quickly goes to the 17th green, if they're on the green. I don't know where they are. All right, before Jake Higginbottom hits his bunker shot there on 18, let's go back to the 17th green. This is Travis Smythe's tee shot here at 17 now. This is why it's so important for everyone in this situation to hang in there. Even Josh Younger, try and make that double bogey on 18, because where Travis Smythe is here, he's where Jake Higginbottom was. We saw Jake Higginbottom pull out the wedge and chip it close. Trav's got the putter out here. I understand why he has the putter, but I don't think putter is the right play. This is going to be very, very difficult to gauge the speed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult because you can imagine, going to have to go off the green here, which is harder to judge how it's going to speed. the speed of the putt. So we've seen two people down here, Jordan Zunic and Jake Hickenbottom, both get the speed perfectly. So let's see what Trav's got. Obviously 2 putts. You think he's going to be in the lead by himself going down the last.
Great to see all the spectators around the green too.
Yeah.
That's one of the cool things.
It's amazing
Great
to see
initiatives.
no ropes when everyone can get really, really close.
Love it. Should be more of it. Good if he can get this within 3 or 4 feet of the cup from where he is.
Be a great putt.
Up across the fringe.
See it bouncing along there. It's going to finish.
It's pretty good.
Yep.
It's not bad at all.
Yep.
But I don't think that was the right shot.
Yeah. In saying that, he's left his putt straight up the hill. So, same thing, you might
If he
be...
holds that, it was the right shot.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
What are they doing? I don't have it.
Here's Minwoo. Set a great tee shot in here to 17. Should obviously get him
Well, this is huge
to
for Minwoo
17.
Lee. Yeah, this is absolutely huge. He's still right in there. He right now, Minwoo Lee thinks he's 3 shots behind.
Yep.
Effectively, if he holds this putt, it could get him into a share of the lead.
Yep.
He doesn't know Josh Younger's going to make most probably at least a double bogey on 18. Travis could easily walk away from here with a bogey if he misses his 6-footer. So this is big for Minwoo Lee. Nope. Nope.
Do you guys know if we never saw Justin Warren's tee shot here?
Obviously, that's to wrap up to stay at 16 under. We heard Minwoo say yesterday he didn't feel like he was playing that great, so he's obviously still playing pretty good to be still in contention, but I know Minwoo has very, very high expectations on himself, so there's a big putt here for Trav.
Yeah, well, I think it's safe to say this is the biggest putt of Travis Smythe's career. Played with Trav here 2 years ago, the first 2 rounds. It was his first event as a professional. At that point, he had already won on the tour as an amateur in the Northern Territory.
Come on, Trav. Oh.
Uh-oh. All right, well, Justin Warren, just to create a different scenario, Justin Warren in the back of your picture there, that coin you can see 6 feet left of the hole. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see his tee shot. I believe that could be his tee shot, and we need to find that out because it's a game changer if we do find that out. If that is his tee shot, all of a sudden Justin Warren has this for the will have this for the outright lead.
We're going to see what's Josh Young doing in 18. We're going to see that putt after this.
A lot of conversation here between Justin and his caddy, Ricky Cato, former #1 junior in the world.
Guys, have you got me? Can you hear me?
Big putt here for Justin.
Yeah, I need to know because it's for birdie. Like, this is about as big as it gets.
Breaking a little bit left to right.
One of the things that a lot of professional golfers do, and I've seen it in the past and you will continue to see it going forward, under pressure, they will always miss putts to the right. It is just so difficult to release that putter when you're feeling twitchy in the hands. Now, okay, we're seeing the claps there in the background. You've got to think that was a birdie putt.
Yep.
That's a par for Justin Warren.
Which means that Trav and Justin are both going to the last 17 under. Minwoo's going to the last at 16 under, you would think, with this short par putt.
And I'm sure we'll catch up with Josh Younger and his scenario, his predicament on 18 very shortly. But I mentioned it before, if there is a playoff, we will play the 18th hole as often as required to determine a champion. Josh Younger, this bogey putt on 18. He's 19 under. This to finish at 18 under par.
It's a pretty good putt.
Oh, it's a good putt, but my goodness.
It's a tricky one there. It's going to be very difficult, especially under the pressure, seeing how he's got 6 feet there for double bogey to finish off at 17 under par. Andrew Dote eyeing up here his birdie putt to finish off at 14 under par in solo 5th. Really, regardless if he makes or misses this one, he's going to stay in 5th. So
yeah, it's been a good week, hasn't it, for Andrew Dote? He's very, very consistent performer. It would not surprise me at all if Andrew Dote wins the Australian Open or the Australian PGA Championship. He was runner-up in 2016 up at Royal Pines to Harold Varner. He's definitely got one of those tournaments in him. I think he can pull it off. This to shoot even par today. He birdied it yesterday.
Keep going, keep going. Solid week for Andrew. I know obviously he would be a little disappointed in 5th, but at the same time, it's still a great week.
Oh, no question. Top 5 at his last 2 tournaments here on the PGA Tour of Australasia. Jake Higginbottom's been a wonderful week for him as well. This is to finish in a share of 6th. And I'll tell you what, this is not good for Josh Younger. All this waiting around. He's got 5 feet for double bogey down the hill.
Definitely got an exciting finish here, haven't we?
Oh, well, we predicted it. Both of us, we did definitely predict it at the start of the day. And that's what we're getting. Higginbottom, left to right, par putt. That's going to drop Jake Higginbottom into a share of 7th with Andrew Martin and James Marcassani.
Means that Denzel Urema finishes solo 6th.
Yeah, that's
another solid week for Denzel. Jake's obviously not very happy there with the ball toss into the water.
Josh Younger now, he has 6 feet. This is a double bogey putt. Now, just to recap, if you're just joining us, Josh Younger stood on this 18th tee, 19 under par, leading by a shot, hooked it in the water off the tee, lays up for 3, hits his 4th on the back of the green, putts down here for 5. He doesn't know that his nearest pursuer also bogeyed 17. So he's 2 ahead. But this is for a double bogey to fall back into a tie. Yeah, well done.
It's a
Gosh.
great putt. And that's the part of that we spoke about, holding the composure to know that every shot does count. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the boys know behind and what he knows. And
well, Padraig Harrington, when he won the 2007 Open Championship at Carnoustie, he double bogeyed the last hole. He actually got up and down for 50 yards for a double bogey. He had the fortitude within himself to...
So Travis obviously come off a birdie yesterday. Driver.
Different scenario to Josh Young.
Yes.
A birdie wins it. Aggressive through the ball. He likes it.
Great, that's clutch.
Well, I wonder if he knows. I wonder if he knows at all what Josh Young has done.
Absolutely perfect.
That is a sensation. You know what a tee shot like that under pressure tells me? He has excellent technique and he trusts it.
Correct and correct. I can say that from knowing Trav so well, that he's a great driver of the ball. And he won't hit a golf shot unless he's fully committed to it.
Isn't that a wonderful sight?
Yeah.
I mentioned it before, no gallery ropes out here, so the crowd get to get to walk with the players. This is brilliant. I love this. You see the kid running in the front of your picture there, all black on with a white hat, going to speak to Minwoo Lee. Hayden Hopewell. He's just turned 18 on Tuesday. He is one of the most exciting prospects in Australian golf, and he's talking to one of the other ones in Minwoo Lee.
So you look, Justin Warren's stepping down the last. Minwoo's having a relaxing chat. Trav's talking to caddy and coach John Serhan. Looks like a great atmosphere out there.
This is wonderful. I feel terrible for Josh Younger, because if Josh parred the last hole, this would be over. He'd be declared champion.
But at the same time, this crowd still would be walking with these guys.
Yeah, but I mean, the tournament would be over. These guys would be pretty much playing for the second place. Right now, Josh has finished, and any one of these three players in your picture here could walk away with the Kelnagel Cup. Minwoo Lee needs to make birdie at 18, at the very least. But if Justin Warren or Travis Smythe make birdie here, they're going to win.
Exciting.
Isn't it ever? So many different scenarios. I love it.
Could be a four-way playoff.
My head is scrambling. Unfortunately, that's how it is when I play as well.
Don't give yourself enough credit.
It could be a four-way playoff. There's no question about it. So that's how it stands right now. And our most likely scenario is going to be a three-way playoff. However, things can change pretty quickly.
We could have a two-way playoff. We could have a winner. We could have a four-way playoff.
We could have a three-way playoff as well. So there's 4 different scenarios right now. Either way, it's exciting. That's all. These players have had sensational weeks inside the top 10.
Here's one. If you said to the boys at the start of the day, if you finish at 18 under, you'll win.
What was leading at the start of the day?
17.
No, and one of the reasons I would have thought that you'd have to do better than that is our last 2 champions have both shot 20 under par or better. And yeah, I would have thought, especially with 17 starting the day, being so many good scores around here, I would have thought 20 under at least.
Especially with 17 leading through 3 rounds.
Well, this is where Justin Warren's tee shot has finished, with also an excellent tee shot. The flag is just to the right of his head there, right in line with that front left bunker. It barely looks like it's on the green from where he's standing. So where would he be looking here, and what sort of shot do you think he's trying to play?
So obviously wind into off the right. Ball's a little bit above his feet, so they're both promoting a draw. Justin hits a bit of a draw as well. Flights his iron shots beautifully. So what you think, 25 feet right of the flag?
You would think so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, isn't that an excellent crowd? Yeah, once again. But you would have to think that 25, 30 feet right of the hole is his target.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, if I was him, I wouldn't be trying to draw it in there. I would just be looking right of the flag, just hit it there.
And trust it.
Oh no, one-handed.
Oh no.
I think I saw a splash in the very right side of our screen. Yep, he's hit that in the water. That's just cost Justin Warren his chance of victory. Oh, what a gutting feeling.
Yeah, obviously Justin's first time. Still chip in, but at the same time, he's obviously going to be quite
interesting.
Quite gutted
too.
Yeah,
he's probably going to have to drop it a long way back.
Yeah, Trav's hit absolute perfect tee shot here. Minwoo's hit a similar tee shot to what he did yesterday.
Yeah, it's going to be. Looks like he's just come up short of the bunker there. Well, we can confirm that Justin Warren's ball, unfortunately, has found the water there at 18. So Minwoo Lee, he needs to make a birdie at worst. You can see he's aiming right, trying to sling it in from right to left. Oh, it's a good shot.
Getting better and better.
It's a good shot. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, he's given himself a chance, hasn't he?
That putt's going to be massive. Haven't seen many smiles from Minwoo this week. He's definitely nice and relaxed there.
Well, I can tell you the situation right now. If Travis Smythe makes a birdie, he's your champion.
How many times do you think he's dreamt of that? birding the last hole of your home state
yeah,
open.
Absolutely. I mean, he would have been. I'm sure he's been on the putting green many, many times, having that same putt in his mind to win. It's what you play for. What a big tee shot as well.
Yeah, under the pressure as well. But Trav, one of his greatest strengths is definitely his distance control with his wedge shots. I know he works very, very hard, and he's given me a lot of tips on that as well. So I would like to think that all those hours of practicing is going to produce a great shot right here.
Gee, that's a good action. I love his golf swing. So come on,
spin.
It's a very, very good shot, and I think he's got to be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, really,
that's going to be to win.
Yeah, you're going to give that. You're going to give that shot under normal circumstances. 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, no question. Look, the difficulty is that's holeable. It's 20 feet away. It's also we know we've seen it. It's very three puttable too.
Yeah. So obviously we've got
goodness.
But Justin's unfortunately hit not his best shot, and it's crossed quite a.
It's such a wonderful finishing hole. It's gutting to see Josh Younger make double. It's gutting to see Justin Warren hit it in the water here. But we've spoken about it all day. You know exactly what awaits you. These guys, unfortunately for Justin Warren, he bogeyed this day one. He bogeyed it yesterday. It's got his number this week. It's definitely been a little bit of his nemesis. But, yeah, I mean, it's just trouble lurks, doesn't it? All the way to the green.
And like we said, like he's had such a good week, and obviously this is devastating for him, but at the same time he's still got a very difficult shot in front of him, so he's got to regroup and hit another good shot and give himself every opportunity to make up and down for bogey, because like we said, at the end of the year, especially with the money being so top heavy, it makes such a big difference.
Well, 2 putts for a double bogey for Justin Warren. He's going to do no worse than 4th. But when you come to the last hole tied for the lead, and there being roughly a $50,000 difference between 1st and 4th, and you've never finished inside the top 10.
Yeah. Justin is a great player, so I'm sure he'll learn a lot from this. Just sadly, he has to go through this one first.
Yeah, but you know what it does highlight for all these players? You see Josh Younger hit it left on 18. So Justin Warren hit his second shot left at 18. The one thing that you can learn from it is what your mistake and your tendencies are under pressure. I know for myself, 10, 11 years ago, before I had my first win, I got myself into contention a few times. It sounds ridiculous, but my left foot, I used to get shaky with my left foot, and I didn't know what to do. Especially when I was putting. I didn't know what to do, and it was almost uncontrollable. But then I figured out how to adjust that, and I realised I expected that to happen, so it didn't come as a complete shock to the system. Everyone has their little idiosyncrasies that they have to deal with. Now Justin Warren might realise why he hits that shot left under pressure. Same with Josh Younger.
And also the other side of it is you walk off the 18th tee knowing you're in the lead, and it's 20 minutes before you get the putt out on the 18th hole, so you've got all this time to not just hit good golf shots, deal with the moment while you're over the ball. You've also got so much time in between shots to think about it, not think about it, whatever works for you. So obviously got who's away, Travel.
Yeah, it looks like Travis Smythe is going to be first to putt here. So for Travis Smythe, the equation is very, very simple. This putt is to become the 2019 A.B. Jennings New South Wales Open champion.
Downhill, left to right, will swing quite a bit towards the end. Love to see him hole it. That's it.
Whoa. All right, not a bad roll.
obviously missed the high side, so he's given himself really, it's perfect holding speed, right? Just a little touch firm, which you'd love to see when you've got a putt to win.
Yeah, he missed it on the high side, 2 feet past on a very difficult putt really to win. Full marks really.
Yeah, yeah.
So Justin Warren's next to putt. This is for a bogey. Stood on this tee with a share of the lead. Finish at 16 under par, and most likely, depending on what Minwoo Lee does, in a share of third. Quick putt, isn't it, James?
Yeah, coming down the hill all the way from, he's just on the downhill side of the spine.
Good angle there.
Get there.
Oh. What a disappointing finish.
Yeah.
Double bogey from Josh Younger. That for a double bogey for Justin Warren.
Shows that the 18th hole really does have some teeth as well.
Absolutely. Well, what that did do, that gave Minwoo Lee a fantastic line. It was almost an identical line. So Minwoo Lee, really all back 9 long, he's been 2 shots behind, 3 shots behind, hasn't really done anything. And whilst a couple of the others have faltered, all of a sudden, this birdie putt at 18 will be to get him into a playoff.
You'd expect to see a pretty aggressive pace here because he really does have nothing to lose.
Certainly got it there. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to be Minwoo Lee's New South Wales Open Championship, but it's another super impressive performance for the young Western Australian who's 4th this year in Saudi Arabia on the European Tour. That was enough to earn him limited invites throughout the season. We were talking off air yesterday about how he played with Jordan Spieth at the Australian Open a couple of years ago, and it was at the Australian Golf Club. So with how far he hits the ball, he was actually the longest driver on the European Tour this year. You've got to think, with all the tools in his arsenal, he's got a chance next week too.
And like, he was quite young then when he played with Jordan at the Aussie Open, and he absolutely loved it. He wanted the centre of attention to be around himself, so he definitely doesn't fray away from this sort of situation. And
it's a great week nonetheless for Minwoo Lee. He certainly would have been expecting a little bit more over the weekend, but 16 under par, he's going to finish 1 shot behind, outright third. So Travis Smythe, this might be a little bit further away than we thought.
Yeah.
Right centre putt, this to force a playoff with Josh Younger. Well
solid.
done.
Exactly what you want to see, a good, aggressive putt to win, and also, you know, little knee knocker from 2 feet that he hit aggressively, which it is easily said than done. You knock them in all day long, but when it actually has some meaning to it, it can feel like a little longer than it actually is.
You got to feel for Justin Warren. That's a double bogey, drops him back to 15 under. He finishes in 4th position at the New South Wales Open Championship. It's a great week nonetheless. Tough round today, 2 over par 74.
Yeah, Justin obviously had it going round 1, round 3, and just wasn't able to get that same on the 2nd and 4th round, but I'm sure that Justin will be back in position like this very soon, and feel for him, but got a playoff to go.
Yeah, these players will be heading towards the scorer's hut. Josh Younger finishing at 17 under par. Travis Smythe tapping in for par there to join him. Those two will be making their way back to the 18th tee in approximately about 10 minutes time, hopefully a little bit less, for a playoff. So the drama not over yet. We certainly saw plenty of it on the 18th hole. Oh, that's great to see, from great sportsmanship from Travis Smythe there. Those two have grown up playing junior golf together. And there's Josh Younger. He's waiting around for the playoff, and it'll be actually very, very interesting to see what happens when Josh Younger goes back to the 18th tee. Will he take a driver again off the tee, knowing that it cost him there? I mean, it'd be easy to, right now, for Josh Younger to look back and say, oh, geez, if only I made a bogey on 18, I would have been champion. But you can't do that. You've got to focus on what's ahead, and that's a playoff. He's got his mind coach there in the shorts and the dark shorts and dark shirt, excuse me, Sean Lynch. So I'm sure Sean is going to give Josh some mental exercise and some techniques to rehearse before going back there. So the formalities to be completed in the scorer's hut there. Very important to take care of all of that. We've certainly seen some players, unfortunately, not take full care of the situation in years gone by. I remember Argentinian Roberto Di Vincenzo back in the 60s. Would have been in a playoff for the Masters at Augusta National. Instead, he signed for a score one shot higher than what he actually shot. So instead of being in a playoff, he finished second, one shot behind.
Yeah, formalities here.
Well, let's take one last look at how proceedings finished here. Of course, we've got Josh Younger and Travis Smythe will be heading back to the 18th tee shortly for a playoff. Minwoo Lee we just saw, so did Justin Warren there in third and fourth positions respectively. Andrew Dote, a terrific week as well. All of those players top five, wonderful performance, but many other great stories too, James.
Yeah, Ben Eccles, low round of the day, 65. Sneaking him up there from 3 under to tie 10th, which Ben obviously won as an amateur at Stonecutters. So he'd be very happy, and that makes him a fair bit more money for the end of the year, been playing in the Challenge Tour the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's been struggling a little bit too, and I love going through all the pages of the leaderboard, seeing the different stories, the different scenarios, players, you know, what they've got coming up, what they've been doing. Marcus Fraser, 3-time winner on the European Tour. Peter Lonard, he's played 2 President's Cups. Darren Becker, a winner recently in Kalgoorlie at the WA PGA Championship.
Brody Martin, 66, backed up from yesterday. Obviously didn't have the best Saturday, but he's bounced back and be feeling great about today.
Yeah, wonderful performance. Mark Hensby's made his way back to Australia. He also played President's Cup back in 2005. Jordan Mullaney, good week for him, top 20 alongside yesterday's hole-in-one man, Aaron Townsend.
Doug Klein, another solid week here.
And the low amateur, Nathan Barbieri, the runner-up this year at the Australian Amateur Championship, tied for 35th at 6 under par. He had Braithen Astor, rugby league personality, and also a great golfer in his bag this week. Jamie Arnold, tough round today, 3 over par.
Another solid week for Melvin Smiley. Second for the amateurs.
Thousands of people make their home in an AV Jennings community every year.
Well, these are some of our highlights from earlier today. This was Denzel Iramia, the New Zealander, making a terrific birdie on the par 3 17th hole. He had a sensational week, finishing in 6th position. Josh Younger, he came to this 17th tee, 19 under par, in the lead by a stroke. He made a birdie here yesterday, and a sensational shot. Very aggressive, much more aggressive than I expected him to be there at 17. This was for a birdie to get to 20 under par.
And a different story if he's following in, but just dove away at the end there. Probably wasn't the most aggressive stroke that he would have been happy with for the week, but still said it was playing quite tough today. So solid 3 there. And obviously Probably a moment that sadly he would want back, but...
Well, it's, in my opinion, and I mentioned this earlier when we watched Elvis Smiley and Nick Cullen tee off, it's much easier for a left-hander up here because they can control a fade with their driver off the tee. It's much more difficult, isn't it, to control a draw with the driver?
Definitely. And yeah, but at the same time, you've got your game plan and you're obviously confident with the shot you're hitting, so it'd be interesting to see if he would want to change that or if he was happy and he just made a mistake. So,
all right, well, the players have made their way back to the 18th tee. This is the playoff, the first hole of the playoff. Depending on what happens on this playoff hole, we will continue going back down the 18th if necessary, if scores are tied. And
obviously Josh has listened to you. He's got 3 wood out. The wind is picking up a little bit as well, so
a little bit back into the faces of the players.
Yeah, it's almost coming into and off the right now. It's changed a little bit as we look outside. So,
well, you've got to think Travis Smythe has got the upper hand. He's played that 18th hole very, very solidly. He's feeling good about his game. Josh Younger, he's been waiting around for the last 20 minutes. What can he do here? 3 wood in hand. Well, backing away from it, never a good sign. Very, very understandable that these players feeling the pinch, but right now you can just sense the anxiety rushing through Josh Younger's veins.
he's happy with it. That's the other thing, he's also got a second chance. Second life.
He does. And he may not have expected that making a double bogey. I'm sure he probably thought he'd cost himself a chance at victory.
See Travis's manager in the background there. Obviously very excited to see one of his boys in contention here.
Well, there's no need for Travis to change his game plan because what he did last time worked. He took the driver out, went over to the right-hand side here, took a more aggressive line over the corner. And you've got to have full and complete trust in your swing to be taking this on with driver. He does have a great golf swing. And there he goes. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yelling for it to carry.
You know it. It's harder than that one is.
Well, the body language would tell you that has found the water. We need to get clarification. It's such a difficult tee shot here at 18. See, the problem is, you aim it up that right-hand side, you've actually only got to miss the fairway by 15, 20 metres to the right, and it's so firm over there, it could actually kick out of bounds to the right.
Yeah, and the slopes from left to right once it does miss the fairway, so it will definitely get a big and right bounce. So, yeah, I bet Trav's slotted that tee shot so many times this week, so he's obviously very confident in it, and it set him up for a birdie yesterday, so yeah, I'm sure. It's just one of those things that we are human beings in some way, and he just made a mistake. Hopefully it doesn't cost him too badly here.
Well, Josh Younger confidently striding his way up the 18th, which is a contradiction to what he was feeling 25, 30 minutes ago. He stood on the 18th tee, the 72nd hole with 19 under par, took a driver out, worked it left into the tree, found the penalty area, and what must have been going through his mind at that point. I've potentially thrown away my maiden PGA Tour of Australasia title, but he hung in there. He walked off with the double bogey. Actually hold a really good putt for that, didn't he? 5 or 6 footer down the hill. You just never know what's going to happen. And the one thing that is for certain under pressure is that every single player is going to be feeling the pinch out there.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Trav and Matt walking quite anxiously up the left there. They still obviously don't exactly know where the ball's gone.
Well, we need to try and get clarification as soon as possible because we've got the cameraman rushing over there. Has his ball found the water? Is it on dry land? That's Josh Younger's ball.
There's Josh Younger, middle of the fairway.
I assume that's Josh Younger's ball. Travis walking up the left-hand side. Now, that Josh Younger hit a 3-wood there.
And that obviously shows that the wind has changed a little bit because we didn't see any 3-woods get that far down.
I'm wondering if Travis has actually carried the water there.
Yeah.
He's striding pretty confidently up there.
The stride definitely changed probably like 30 strides ago, so maybe. You can see.
Oh, wow.
That's big.
Travis Smythe is actually fine. You know what? He's only going to have a wedge in from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did carry that water.
Yeah, and that's what we did say with the fact that once you do get it over 270 up the left-hand side, it does open up that little bit. So obviously he wasn't playing for that, but he's definitely going to take that luck.
And he wouldn't have been able to see that finish from the tee.
No.
How close is he to the water there? I wonder if we can get the camera to just pan around it or... Unfortunately not, but I'm assuming it hasn't carried that penalty area by much at all.
Not at all. But now,
what
do you do as Josh? So obviously Josh is hitting first, middle of the fairway.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario. First of all, Travis is much closer to the hole, so that's an advantage in itself.
Yeah.
I actually like Travis's angle better from the left-hand side because where he is, he can aim a little bit right of the flag and play a bit more safely, whereas with where Josh is, you've got that angle where if you pull it just a little bit,
it rides the wind.
It rides the wind, it rides more of the slope, you've got more chance of it finding the water like Justin Warren's did.
Yeah.
In saying that, Josh Younger does like to hit a draw. If you can set this out 30, 35 feet right of the pin and just ride the breeze a little bit with the slope,
it's a great angle there.
You can get it close.
Let's see what Josh can do.
He likes it. He likes it. Oh, good shot, but my golly, that is going to be difficult up and down.
Saw what Trav's putt did in regulation there, and he's probably got double the distance, so we know that's going to be quite quick and he's going to break, and he's on quite a bit of a downslope, so he was obviously quite happy with it.
It was a good shot, wasn't it? It was a good line. It was flushed, and you can understand why you'd err on the long side.
Yeah, definitely.
The difficulty for Travis here is coming out of the rough because the greens are still fairly firm. He could hit an ideal shot that lands somewhere near the flag, but still catapult 20, 30 feet past the hole.
Yeah, he's obviously just trying to double check there. You've got the flags up, the Australian flag up on the left with the A.V. Jennings. Give you a good reference where the wind's coming from.
He's got to be looking right at the flag though, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yep. So we'll probably get down a little bit.
Well, it's a pretty solid shot, but it's not too dissimilar a position to where he found himself before, and it's just fallen into a little sprinkler head there.
We saw Aaron Milken in there a bit earlier. So
it's closer to the hole, but both players pretty tricky putts.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Josh gets to. It's one of those things. It's sort of like it is like match play now, right? You're further away, you get to put the pressure on, and going second, you get to see what your opponent has done before you. So,
well, Josh Younger here, if he can lag this down there to tap in distance and make it 4,
puts all the pressure on Trav.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, even at the best of the times, even if he's out here playing 9 holes by himself, 2-putting that is no bargain.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Matty Miller bobble it out there a little bit because it's obviously not on the putting surface. So
Josh Younger, just to repeat, is looking for his first victory on the PGA Tour of Australasia. He's had 3 runner-ups in his career. Travis Smythe, a winner. He won in 2017. He actually dominated up in Darwin. He won by 6 strokes at the Northern Territory PGA Championship. He was an amateur, though, when he won that, so he's looking for his first victory as a professional. Been playing up in Asia the last couple of years.
He's actually found a bit of confidence recently. Had a bit of a lull through the middle of the season, and then he's made the last 3 cuts. So,
did I see in the middle of the year Travis was working with, was it a mental coach? Someone came out from the UK, or was it the UK?
I was just trying to think of the name, but you sort of put me on the spot there. He worked a lot with Francesco Molinari.
Dave Allred.
Yep. So Trav did.
Yep.
Trav did a lot of work, and the biggest onus on being really putting everything that you do in practice as a number. So whether or not it's driving and you do a really, really small target, and practicing every day, giving yourself a number, so that way when you know you're coming down the stretch, like today, if it takes you 3 times to hit it in a 15-metre fairway with driver, and you do that every day, you can be pretty confident.
Yeah.
So he worked really hard, and I know that he said that it was quite draining because practice every day was to a T. Everything had to be a number, everything had to be worked out as a percentage to a distance.
That's exactly what professional golf is. Yeah. I mean, you've got to simulate that intense pressure as much as you can when you practice. Now, Travis is just taking a drop here from the sprinkler. He's allowed to clean his ball,
which is a big bonus, because if that's got some mud on there, it's going to affect the roll of the ball massively. And there's your favourite thing, the drop.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's back in there. So you get 2 drops. If that ball does the same thing again, he gets to place it where the ball landed. I'll tell you what you've got to be careful with is when you put the ball back down. Not so much in this situation, but let's say that sprinkler head was water. When you put the ball back down, if you walk away, when that ball's in play, if that ball's hovering and it rolls away and it rolls into the water, that's counted as a shot.
Ricky Fowler this year at the Waste Management.
That's right, it's happened. I remember it happened to Andre Stoltz one year at the Queensland PGA Championship, and cost him a win.
So obviously Josh is going to putt first, but the big thing is with Trav, with dropping it out of that sprinkler head, he's gone from being on the colliery, a little bit of rough, to now being on the fringe. Yeah. So he's going to be able to judge that a lot easier.
It's right in Josh Younger's eye line there too.
Tough putt here for Josh. It's obviously going to be pretty quick, but he's coming out of that first cut, so it's not going to be as manicured perfectly as the greens.
Oh, it's not high enough.
This chases out quite firmly here.
Oh. Oh, look, it's not even on the green.
So the big thing is now for Trav is you've got to block that out and go through your process, and you've got to hit the best putt possible, like you would anyway, without putting any meaning on it, knowing that you've got a good chance to win your home open.
Well, it's beneficial for 2 reasons. One, he had this putt 15 minutes ago, and he's just seen exactly what Josh Younger ball has done there. And most likely, not that you expect anyone to miss it, most likely you would think, especially with the emotions going through his veins, Josh Younger that is, 2 putts here and he's probably going to win.
Yeah. Obviously knows it's going to go left to right. It's a little bit downhill. It's not a perfect lie, because obviously he's placed it after he's dropped it twice, so you back Trav in to knock this one up pretty close.
2 backing away from it. I think the advantage, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think the advantage in this situation where you've got a big breaking putt is you can really break it down into a much simpler version. Putt to an apex, just treat it as an 8 or 10 foot putt. Then gravity will take over from there.
Yep.
I don't think that's high enough, is it?
It's got to go. Just look like a fraction of... lost a bit of speed into impact.
They were longer versions, but remember I said before, when Justin Warren missed his putt on 17, one thing to look out for with the players under pressure is they miss putts right.
Yep.
It's not easy to get yourself to release that putt ahead.
So Josh has got to be feeling quite confident here, because Trav's obviously 4 feet, little left to right, not an easy putt at all.
Well, it's an opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah. So
for Josh Younger to put the pressure on now.
Because Josh is obviously, although he's just off the green, coming practically straight back up the hill. He's obviously putting up the hill, so it is going to be quite slow. He can be quite aggressive. And really, he holds this, it makes Trav's putt feel a lot longer than it is.
Pretty straight?
Yeah. Well, obviously, and most of the time when the putt goes past the hole, it does fall to the straight putt line. Sort of goes into that collection, so backing it to be pretty straight.
Great line there. Oh, Josh Younger, that is clutch.
That's massive.
Now, that is a 2-putt, 0-putt for the stats.
Oh, yeah, no. We've rolled on the green twice.
But he was never actually on the putting surface.
True.
So effectively, he's chipped in for a par.
True.
But I tell you what, coming off that double bogey, to do what he did there, what must have been going through his head, his veins, his heart pumping out of his chest, incredible stuff. Now, all of a sudden, 2 minutes ago, it was advantage Travis Smythe. This to continue the playoff. And it's not an easy one.
Not at all. Left side of the cup, inside the hole.
That is clutch. That is clutch.
And that's a... So, I know Matt quite well, who's caddying for Trav. I think Matt just got a few more grey hairs. He was telling me yesterday how his beard's gone quite grey quite quickly, and I don't think this week's helped him at all. And poor Matty must be so nervous out there.
Well, the PGA Tour rules officials, Graham Scott there, will be taking Josh Younger back to the tee. I think it's a great playoff hole, number 18. Just a great hole in general, but so many different scenarios that can be created. All these players will make their way back to the tee, the second playoff hole here at the A.V. Jennings New South Wales Open Championship. Whew, well, if you've just tuned in, Travis Smythe and Josh Younger finished at 17 under par, 1 stroke ahead of Minwoo Lee at 16 under. Justin Warren finished 15 under. But it didn't look like that at all coming down the stretch. Josh Younger was on the 17th tee at 19 under par. In fact, he was on the 18th tee at 19 under par. At that point, Travis Smythe was 18 under par. Justin Warren was 17 under par. Josh Younger holed a 6-footer for a double bogey on the 18th. That dropped him back to 17 under par, which meant Travis Smythe was leading. Then Travis Smythe 3-putted the 17th. That dropped him back to 17 under par. So Travis Smythe, Justin Warren stood on the final tee at 17 under par. Then Justin Warren hit his second shot in the water, made a double bogey to finish 15 under par. Travis parred 18. Minwoo Lee narrowly missed out on a birdie to join that playoff. Therefore, we've had Josh Younger just hole a putt on the first playoff hole from off the putting surface for a par to continue the playoff. Travis Smythe himself holed a very solid 4-footer. Something's got to give at some point, and if it's going to happen, it's definitely this 18th hole, isn't it, James?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely showed its teeth with the way that Justin and Josh played it in regulation. So, you know, Josh played it close to regulation, even though he essentially had a chip in putting it off the green, but he hit the fairway. He was just off the green. But even then, it still showed how hard it is that they both had to hole, especially Josh had to hole a long par putt. And then you put the pressure on it as well, that a 20-footer lagging it up there doesn't become that easy anymore.
Well, there's no easy lag putt here on this green, because if you play safely right of the flag, you've got a very quick putt down the hill. If you play safely past the flag, like we just saw, you've got a very, very tricky downhill, big breaking left to right putt. The only place where it's really a fairly simple putt is left of the flag, and you're certainly not going to be aiming your second shot there.
No. If you're hitting it left of the flag, you will not be breathing from the time it leaves the club face until it stops rolling.
Well, Josh has got the 3-wood out again.
He obviously loves it.
Tactic there from Travis Smythe. He's standing very, very close to him. I'd be on the other side if I was him.
Loves it.
Well, it looks like that's a carbon copy of the tee shot on the playoff hole, and I'm sure Josh is saying to himself, why didn't I do that on the 72nd?
Yeah, but I think I'm sure he'll be thinking that, but at the same time, he knows he can't change it now. He's just got to look forward and give himself every chance of winning the playoff.
Well, Trav's got the driver out again.
Yeah, he's hit 4 great tee shots here in regulation. Obviously, he wasn't too happy with his tee shot in the playoff, but it did get quite lucky, so got to keep going with what you feel confident with. And he is a great driver of the golf ball, so he's obviously backing himself to do it again. You're doing everything you can to hit it over the right-hand side of that tree. We can see in the distance it overhangs at 210 metres. Started a bit right. Doesn't like it.
Oh, well, it's found the middle of the bunker now. It's not too bad.
No. It's obviously, the bunkers here are perfect. So, the wind's off the right. It's a left flag. Plenty of green short. He'll have about 150 to 160 from that bunker. So, generally, it's not a hard shot. Obviously, when you put in the situation, it becomes quite difficult.
The issue is, if he does catch it, which is so easy to do, if he does catch it just a hair thin, hair fat, yeah, you've got the water short. And even if he aims it away from the water, then all of a sudden he's got a very, very difficult chip.
Yep.
Well, advantage Younger, but from what we've seen the last half an hour, perhaps advantage doesn't mean much at all.
Anything could happen.
We've seen Josh Younger hit his tee shot in the water here. We've seen Travis Smythe almost hit his tee shot in the water here. We've seen Justin Warren hit his approach shot in the water here. We've seen multiple 3 putts on this green. So it's never over until the fat lady sings. She may start humming quite a bit on this 18th hole, but we just don't know until the end.
So here's an interesting one. Adam Taylor, who is currently caddying for Josh Younger, has spent the last 12 months on and off caddying for the Travis Smythe. So
okay, so that's a good one. I think I can top it, and I'm trying to think of the tournament. It was somewhere in Asia, and it was an LPGA event recently. I'll tell you what it was. It was a playoff. Nelly Korda and Caroline Masson. Nelly Korda's caddy is Caroline Masson's fiance. Who do you barrack for in that situation? See, this situation, I understand, but at least Adam Taylor is being employed by Josh this week. So of course he wants Josh to win.
From all of what Travis told me about,
I think Adam caddied for Trav in New Zealand this year because I remember seeing him over there.
Yeah, and what from Trav said about Adam is he's one of the greatest guys and a great caddy.
Yeah, and
he just loves it out there. And obviously, he's a very good caddy because Josh has been very comfortable with him out there this week as well. And I do have to sort of think that either way, he's going to be happy to see who wins, and he's either going to be a part of. Maybe I wonder how many he's been on the loop for when guys have won as well. But either way, you can't really help either of them now. It's all on them.
Travis Smythe in the right fairway bunker here at 18. He does have a clean lie. Josh Younger, we're yet to get clarification on where his tee shot has finished. I believe it's fine. He liked it.
It's a great hole to have a playoff on.
Oh, it's sensational, isn't it? Ooh. It looked a lot cleaner than that, didn't it? You can just see that's nestled down just a little bit there. And
with the new rule, you can move the rocks.
You can move the rocks. But as far as the ball nestling down there in this situation, does that make it easier to hit fat or thin?
Fat for sure.
Which is we spoke about with
Yeah.
the water short. That's
Yeah.
what you got to look out for. So, all right. So to compensate from that, what do you got to do?
Well, probably going to put it, I don't know about how you play fairway bunker shots, but for myself, a little bit further back, grip down a fraction, and I always want to try and hit a 3/4 shot.
So basically everything you've said there, everything in your power to hit the ball first.
Yeah, because if you hit it a little bit thin, usually it's going to come out and spin a little bit more, so it's going to come out a bit lower, but it's going to land firmer with more spin, so it's helping you.
And the advantage that Travis does have here is so far back in the bunker, he doesn't have to worry about any lip at all.
No. And obviously the wind's on the, we've settled a fair bit, but the wind is coming off the right, so he can hit away from the water, from the bunker, because you usually you're going to hit a bit of a draw. I always find I hit a draw out of the bunker, but...
So he's got to be looking pretty much just over the corner of that grass tongue in front of him, doesn't he? Right side of the green there.
Has to hit a good shot.
Looks like he's happy with the strike. That's the sprinkler he was just in before. And you know he's going to have to take a drop as well from that, because it's going to be right in his line.
Yeah, that's a great shot from Trav.
Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And obviously he knows he knows what that putt's going to do.
Well, you've got the putter out, Trav, but I don't know if he probably will end up using it. All right, so here's Josh Younger's ball. It's just in the left rough. Second shot. Might like this one, does he?
Oh, that's a great shot.
My goodness, he almost makes an eagle.
That's not that far off the putt. It's obviously a lot shorter, but it's pretty similar line to the one he holds for par on the first playoff hole.
What we've seen the last 45 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised if Trav holds it and puts the pressure on Josh Younger.
And Josh holds it on top of him.
Now you're seeing why these two players are in this playoff and did finish at 17 under par. Really quality golf, isn't it? They, under pressure, to that flag, for Travis to be in the bunker with his ball sitting down, water everywhere, looking for his first win as a professional. And let's not forget the winner's check, $65,000.
72?
72, excuse me. $72,000. That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
And
Josh still trying to find his first victory, and he nearly holes a wedge on the second playoff hole.
Coming off a double bogey on the 72nd hole.
After holing a 12-footer from the fringe just to make Trav have to make his 4-footer.
If Josh was to go on and hold that and win, Trav 2 putts for a 4. Travis has definitely got to hold his head high.
Yep.
No, he's not really done. I know he 3-putted 17 in regulation. He may look back at that and think, well, perhaps I should have chipped it from where he was. But he's, to me, what I've seen here, he is very competent under pressure.
Yep.
He's got a very, very good action, very, very good technique. And irrespective, both of these players, I know Josh double bogeyed the 72nd hole, but the way he's been able to bounce back on these two playoff holes on such a difficult hole where he has scar tissue, I think both of these players are definitely going to have a lot of positives that they can walk away from.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that there is only ever going to be one winner, but they can both. Obviously, one's going to take a winner's check away as well, but they can both take a lot away from contending here. Not just contending, but forcing a playoff. And, they both made their opponent hole putts on the first playoff hole. And on top of that, they held their own as well. So if you lose to a birdie on this hole, then
we said it before, didn't we? I was crushed when I saw the players struggling coming in, because you want to see someone win it and not lose it. And we're in a situation right now where potentially we're going to see that happen.
You can sort of see where Trav was standing there. It was like the little ridge. So
it's exactly the same putt, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's going up, flat to up the first 8 feet, and that's when it starts to go down.
It's not easy to get the speed right, but the benefit that he does have is that he hit this exact, I'm talking almost to the exact same blade of grass putt about 10-15 minutes ago.
Yeah. And and he gets to put the pressure on Josh. Oh, he's done the same thing again.
Well, it's not that bad a putt, really. It's a very, very difficult one to get the speed right. It's almost, in fact, again, it's almost a carbon copy of what he did before. But in that situation, I'm sure he'd be thinking he had to hold that to continue the playoff. So the situation now, Josh Younger on the second playoff hole has 6 feet for birdie up the hill. This for his first professional title and the 2019 A.B. Jennings New South Wales Open Championship. He's done it.
Birdie to win.
Josh Younger is your champion, and it's thoroughly deserved after what he did on the 72nd hole, James. I'm sure he thought he'd thrown away his chances with the double bogey, but to bounce back with that birdie on the second playoff hole, absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, that's amazing. To reset only 45 minutes after you probably felt like you've given the trophy away. A win like that is just incredible.
That's Sean Lynch, his mind coach there. Very emotional scenes. You know, Josh Younger, I've got a tear in my eye watching this. Josh Younger is a wonderful, wonderful young man. And to go through that, you know, to go through what he did on that 72nd hole with a double bogey, to have had 3 runner-ups, so many close calls, that's just wonderful stuff. And you can see the players there, a couple of the players there, and Max Mercado giving him a hug. He's well liked out here, well respected, and he's got the monkey off the back.
That's awesome to see.
Oh, it's just, it's another wonderful story. You know, golf tends to conjure up a lot of these great stories, and Josh has been at it for years and years and years, and has persevered. He's played up in Asia the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's wonderful stuff. And let's not forget Travis Smythe. I mean, it's, you're very, very close friends with Travis. I'm friends with Travis as well, and he's got to walk away holding his head high. He put up a great performance this week, but Josh Younger is your champion, and very well deserved as well.
If I get good enough, like it's not going to get hurt, and then it's perfect.
Josh,
No.
Josh. Got to be super duper quick.
All right, yeah.
I've got to get something. I've got to get something to media.
Yep.
All right. Come over here. Over.
Well done, mate. Thank you.
Let me know.
What a feeling this must be.
First time holding it.
Holding the Kel Nagle Cup, his first win on the PGA Tour of Australasia.
Okay, just back to.
Yeah.
All right.
And you mentioned the $72,000 prize check. Well, that almost feels secondary at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
That'd just be a bonus.
Hoisting that trophy,
Jono, do you want to get a photo?
becoming the New South Wales Open champion. So all of a sudden, Josh Younger has his name on a trophy with Greg Norman, Peter Thompson, Ian Baker-Finch, Craig Parry, Kel Nagle. I mean, and I mentioned before in recent times, Jake McLeod, Jason Scrivener, who are both playing on the European Tour. So you've got to think, perhaps this is an opportunity for Josh Younger to use it as a springboard to play his way onto an overseas tour.
Yeah, definitely. And he can jump up the order of merit and puts himself, obviously he's going to be very confident going into next week for the Australian Open. So he gets to play the PGA, a couple of good weeks, and he could all of a sudden, you know, Jake did it last year. He won here, won the Order of Merit. Why not make it 2 guys that have won New South Wales Open that can go on to win the Order of Merit?
Absolutely, and that's $72,000 now on the PGA Tour of Australasia Order of Merit at the end of the year. Jake McLeod, the reason he did play on the European Tour this season is because, not because he won the New South Wales Open Championship last year, but the money that he earned, and then he went on to finish third at the Australian Open. He topped the Order of Merit at the end of the season. Now, the winner of the Order of Merit earns a European Tour card for the following season. So this $72,000, I mean, you're going to need probably in excess of $300,000 to win the Order of Merit. So Josh Younger is certainly going to need a couple of good weeks. But winning this, that's certainly going to... Oh, it's going to open up a lot of...
And the confidence. Like, now he knows that, obviously, he probably would have had something in the back of his mind that he was like, I've come second so many times. And then he made double in the last, and he's like, could it happen again? And then he holds that putt on the first playoff hole and then makes birdie, and now he's like, no, I know it. Like, I already knew I could win, but now I'm a proven winner. So that's awesome to see.
The confidence... The confidence that he will take from that, whereas half an hour prior to that, he might have been questioning whether, whether he's cut out for professional golf.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Anyway, let's take a look at some of those highlights from what we just saw right at the depth. Josh Younger on the first playoff hole, 3-wood in hand. Now remember, James, he hit a driver on the 72nd hole. I was questioning the play. He hooked it into the tree, ended up in the water, made a double bogey. Travis Smythe hit a driver the first time on the playoff hole, pulled it a little bit left, just avoided the water. This time he didn't want to make the same mistake. He hits it in the right fairway bunker. It wasn't lying the greatest, was it?
Obviously had a very difficult second shot here, and he's hit a great shot here. It's just gone 25 feet past the flag.
Well,
it looked amazing from his view.
You've got to be looking there, though, because if you're 20 feet short of the flag, you're in the water. So that's just exactly the shot that he would have had drawn up. So
and Josh coming from the, like we said, the perfect position and hold it up against the wind, likes to hit that little draw.
Well, the way he stood with his hand on his hip there, he almost looked perplexed, and it almost went in. Wow.
I can imagine he had some adrenaline going, so he probably would have been like just wanting it to come down quicker.
Travis putt for a birdie. I mean, in that situation, you know, Josh Younger has still got 5 or 6 feet for a birdie. It's not a given. But Travis would be counting on Josh Younger rolling this one in, which is why he was disappointed to leave it short. But that putt right there gave Josh Younger his first title on the PGA Tour of Australasia. He is your 2019 A.V. Jennings New South Wales Open champion.
That's awesome to see.
Let's take a look at how things finished up here. Josh Younger, he is your champion, victorious on the second playoff hole over Travis Smythe at 17 under par. Minwoo Lee, a great week in third position. Justin Warren, he stood on that 72nd tee at 17 under par. Unfortunately, walked away with a double bogey. But a lot of these players expect to see their names on the leaderboard in the Australian Open and Australian PGA Championships over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, they'll take a lot of confidence from this week, and they'll be very eager to get out there next week, and obviously got the British Open on the line next week as well. So they'll be looking forward to having a great week and a very strong field next week at the Aussie
exactly
Open.
Right. Yeah, I mean the top 3 finishers next week at the Australian Open Championship who aren't exempt into the Open Championship, but you have to finish inside the top 10.
Yep.
They will go on to play at Royal St George's in 2020.
Yep.
Quite a few, a couple of those players have played in major championships. Andrew Doty made the cut at Royal Birkdale back in 2017.
Some solid weeks from James Marcassani, Jake Higginbottom and Ben Eccles as well.
Well, both Andrew Martin and James Marcassani have had back-to-back top 10s in PGA Tour of Australasia events. Jake Higginbottom, he's a winner on tour. He won the 2012 New Zealand Open as an amateur. Ben Eccles won the New South Wales Open as an amateur in
cleaned up that week as well. Absolutely cleaned up.
Something under par, wasn't
14, I think. 2014 would have been.
2015, Stonecutters Ridge. Anthony Brown won in 2014.
Yep, sorry.
But it's quite interesting. I remember back in 1999 when Aaron Baddeley won the Australian Open at Royal Sydney as an amateur. Brett Rumford actually won the next week as an amateur. But it was around that time, it wasn't too common for an amateur to win or contend in a PGA Tour event. But we've seen it happen a lot.
There was a stretch there where Ben won, Brett Coletta won, Curtis Luck won.
Zach Murray won last year at the WA Open.
Trav won.
Yep.
Yeah, they were especially in the $100,000 events. So it was a big spring for the guys coming through.
I think that highlights the depth of golf and the caliber of the amateur golfers now. I mean, I almost don't like calling them amateur golfers anymore, the amateurs, the ones that play in these tournaments, because it's a full-time job.
Yep.
They're playing a schedule that's not too dissimilar to a professional golfer. Perhaps there's even more to play.
A lot of the guys, especially here, they'll play the Aussie Summer, which, starts in November. They'll play a lot of the pro events, go through till March, play interstate series, then they'll go overseas. They'll play in the UK for 6 weeks, and they'll go over in America and play for 2 months, come back, play Asia Pacific, which obviously Curtis won and played in the Masters from that, and then back into this year. So the high performance programs are producing a lot of great players, and I know Golf New South Wales would have been over the moon with the way their players played this week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, there's still a lot to learn once you do get out into the professional ranks, because you see a lot of players out there who have been grinding for years and years, week in, week out. And what that does do, as you would know, it allows you figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And whilst some players might not look as technically sound or as pretty as other players, or hit the ball as far as other players, they know how to get the job done. They know how to get the ball in the hole. And at the end of the day, it's the score that counts.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Josh. He was backing himself to hit driver, changed it up, hits rearward, makes par birdie, and wins from there. So,
well, Minwoo Lee, he showed us all what he's capable of over the first couple of days. 13 under after 2 rounds. Andrew Dote, the same thing. He was 14 under after 2 rounds. He shot a new course record 61 in that second round. But it's funny how at the end of the week, it's always a very similar winning score. I mean, if you tee off late on the first day, you see someone's shot 8 or 9 under, and then the second day, if you're going out late and someone's in the clubhouse at 14 under, like what happened with Andrew Dote, you think, oh my goodness, 25 under's going to win this. I need to shoot 20 under to finish top 5. But somehow, at the end of the week, that winning score is always around a similar number.
And obviously the last group, the last 2 days over the weekend will tee off at 11 o'clock. So if there is any wind, usually it'll pick up about 9 o'clock. So they get the greens that are a bit more baked. It's windier. And you've got to, especially if you go into the lead like Andrew did yesterday, you're sleeping on the lead, and then someone slept on the lead last night. It's a pretty emotionally draining week, especially if you're in contention all week. So, yeah.
Well, you had Minwoo Lee and Justin Warren at the start of the day starting at 17 under par.
Yep.
I don't think anyone, even those players, would have thought that 17 under would win at the end of the day.
No way. We said that. We were surprised that the score stayed that way, but there were some, we saw it on 17 and 18, tough flags. And I know a couple of boys said that they were pretty tough out there today, so showed its teeth.
Yeah, well, I think for the players competing in the Australian Open Championship next week, I spoke to Jason Norris earlier today, and he was talking about how it was actually pretty good preparation for next week, because the Australian Open, first of all, it's our national championship. It's a wonderful test of golf. You know that the Australian Golf Club, which is a wonderful golf course, is going to be set up fairly firm. It's going to be a ball striking test, isn't it? And all facets of your game are going to have to be pretty much on song. So the way they've set the golf course up this week at Twin Creeks, especially given the drought-like conditions they've been facing out here, it's not only been a great test for the pros and a great warm-up for them, really, so to speak, for next week, but it's also a testament to the wonderful job that the grounds crew have done out here, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We heard the guys speak about the greens all week. They said they were absolutely perfect and got pretty firm, and then the holing putts, making birdies, so the golf course was perfect from what they said, and we know the Aussie will be next week. It's going to be good to see how the guys that have played well this week and just the whole field, how they step it up next week and play at the Aussie in a really world-class field.
Well, outside of the top 3, top 5 players that we saw today, is there anyone to you that really stood out and you thought that we saw coming through, and you thought, well, that guy's been playing well, or that guy looks really, really good, and perhaps we can keep an eye on him over the next couple of weeks?
James Marquezani, he's played really, really solid throughout the year. Played good in China, then the events he's come home for, he played well in Gippsland, played solid at Vic PGA, played pretty solid at WA PGA as well. Another good week this week.
He was top 10 at the Australian back in 2017. Him and Travis Smythe finished tied for 10th that week.
Just like I said yesterday, he's a professional. Everything he does, he just carries himself really well, and I don't see the moment getting too big for him. He nearly won in China this year. Yeah, I pick James to be up there next week for sure.
Interesting. I'd almost go as far as saying, and it may not come as a surprise to you or to people who have watched our coverage today, but I like Travis Smythe's chances.
He's playing Mauritius next week.
Well, there you go. I don't like his chances.
Yeah, he's playing
Mauritius. He can't win
next.
if he's in Mauritius. But if he is playing the Australian PGA Championship, perhaps he's a good chance up there.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have a few more highlights to show you. So let's go back and have a look at some of those from today. Aaron Townsend. This was him on 18. Long birdie putt.
Like the camera being on. Did nearly hold that one as well.
The ace man from yesterday.
Sadly, no calf arrow.
He was consistent. He won the consistency award this week.
There we go.
70, 70, 70. And guess what he shot last round?
70.
Well, he played alongside Jordan Mullaney. Jordan Mullaney hit his second shot on 18 in the fairway bunker. He failed to find the green with his bunker shot, but he never failed to find the hole here, did he? Look at that. What a way to finish for Jordan Mullaney.
One putt on the 18th green for 2 days.
That's right. Birdied it yesterday. Hold about a 15-footer for birdie.
Charlie Dan. Wasn't his best tee shot or second shot.
I don't know if Charlie would be a fan of us showing that shot because it found a watery grave, but he is a fan of this one. Look at this.
I said that the crosshand has helped him a lot with the putter this year, and he proved me right here with a stat of a chip in, but a 25-30 footer from the fringe there for bogey, which he probably wouldn't have taken on the tee, but very much so after he played the hole.
What Travis Smythe would have given for that, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Good week for Charlie Dan. Finished at 6 under par. Peter Wilson, he finished at 9 under par. That was a birdie putt at 17. Not sure if Peter will be a fan of me saying that he's double the age of his caddy. Just about there. David Micheluzzi was on his bag this weekend.
Micheluzzi would have been happy with this putt. He could be like, where's my 10% for caddy?
Micheluzzi does that all day long himself.
True. Denzel, great shot into 17 here.
Towering high ball flight. Back flag. At the start of the day, we said, I don't think we'll see too many players take that flag stick on. Wrong. Denzel Iramia hits it to about 5 feet.
And this putt helped him get to a finish at solo 6th at 12 under par.
Playing alongside Max McArdle there. Josh Younger, he stood on the 17th tee, his 71st hole, 19 under par. He was in the lead by a stroke. He birdied this hole yesterday. What could he do with his tee shot? He fed it off the slope, hits it in there to about 15 feet.
Josh has got some young fans outside as we speak.
Just losing that putt on the low side. Easy to be filled there because he had Andrew Dote putt before him who just charged it through the break. Yep. So it probably wasn't the best indication of what the ball was going to do. What about this one?
He'd love to have it back, but at the same time, he got the result that he was after. Probably not in regulation, I mean.
Well, it's the best form of learning, isn't it? The fact that he's walked away with the trophy, he's walked away with the winner's check. He can hold his head high that he is the champion, but certainly take something away from what he did on 18. I mean, he comes to the playoff, hits 3-wood twice, makes a par and a birdie, and effectively he stood on that 72nd hole. All he needed was a bogey to win. Yeah. He didn't know that at the time.
But at the same time, this second putt that he holed,
well, what it actually
massive. He's holed
the 3 putts on the 72nd hole and then the 2 playoff holes.
Yeah, he's holed like at least 25 feet of putts on the 18th green, or one from the fringe.
This was Travis Smythe on 17. So after Josh Younger made a double bogey at 18 and to finish the tournament at 17 under par, Travis stood on this 17th hole leading at 18 under par. That's where his tee shot finished. Yes, it's on the putting surface, but look how much fringe he had to putt through. I questioned that play. We saw Jake Higginbottom almost chip it in with a wedge from that position. Unfortunately, Trav would go on to miss that par putt, so he makes a bogey, falls back into a tie at 17 under par.
But Justin Warren had that putt to get to the outright lead.
That was the double bogey putt of Josh Younger on the 72nd green. He finishes at 17 under par. Justin Warren
missed the putt on 17, and then it was a great tee shot.
He was tied for the lead at that point. That second shot found the water. So unfortunately, that cost him his chance. Min Woo Lee was one behind, standing on this 72nd tee.
It's a great shot in here.
Min Woo Lee had that putt, and he knew it at the time. He had that putt to force a playoff from about 20 feet down the hill, laughing. He got a good bounce there. Travis Smythe needed a birdie here at the 18th to win. It's a pretty quality shot in there. Had an outside chance of holding that. Great crowds. Great to see. Unfortunately, the putt just slid by. This to force a playoff with Josh Younger.
Rock solid as ever.
Well, Josh Younger is your 2019 AV Jennings New South Wales Open champion. Let's get down to the final green for the presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you for your patience. I'm sure you'll agree we've witnessed some fantastic golf and a fitting conclusion to the 2019 AV Jennings New South Wales Open. I'd just like to acknowledge the VIP party at the front here. To my right is Peter Summers, the CEO of AV Jennings. To my left, Mr Ross Fowler, OAM, Penrith Council Mayor. To my right there, David Chen and Tommy from Twin Creeks, David Kopp, the CEO from Twin Creeks, and Darren Turner, who's done a fantastic job this week, the course superintendent here at Twin Creeks. Graham Phillipson on my left, Kim Felton from the Australian PGA, and of course our prize winners. Ladies and gentlemen, this tournament does not happen without fantastic support from our sponsors. AV Jennings have been a fantastic partner with Golf New South Wales for the New South Wales Open, and this is their second year of naming rights sponsorship for the tournament. There are many other sponsors as well, to Celestino, to Worrells, support sponsors of Drummond Golf and St Mary's Inn, Holiday Inn. We thank you all for your contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to call to the microphone Ross Fowler, OAM, the Mayor of Penrith City Council, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Stuart. A very warm welcome to everyone's here, but congratulations, of course, to the winner. But I think congratulations, first of all, to everyone who played. It was certainly a terrific event and a terrific day. Can I just also acknowledge the sponsors and thank you for your support, and Penrith City Council is certainly proud to be one of those sponsors. I would also like to acknowledge the New South Wales Golf, PGA Association, and of course Twin Creeks, and I think you'll have to agree with me, they've put on a wonderful course here and a great deal of effort. And I would like to just acknowledge all the volunteers. They're those fellas and girls in green over there. I think you've done a great job. Thank you very much for everything you've done. I know this is the third year we've been here, and it's been a great success as far as I'm concerned. I know a number of you have visited Penrith before. If you get a chance to visit again, come back, because there's a lot more to offer in Penrith than a game of golf, albeit a game of golf on an excellent course. Before I finish, can I just acknowledge my councillor colleague, who's I think might have been one of the volunteers, Councillor Bernard Bertusa. Thank you, Bernard. But it's great to be here. Congratulations to everyone who's played. Congratulations to everyone who's taken part. And, of course, congratulations to the organisers and the sponsors of the event. Thank you for an excellent day. Thank you for an excellent competition. And all the very best into your future games of golf to those competitors. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ross. And I'd certainly like to acknowledge the support of Penrith City Council and the state government. Their support has been fantastic, and this tournament doesn't happen with them. The current government is great supporters of golf, and we're very appreciative. Okay, the first bit of silver we're going to give out is to the low amateur, and I'm happy to say that's been won by Nathan Barbieri from New South Wales with a 4-round total of 6 under par. Both those. I mentioned our sponsors earlier, and like I said, we're very pleased to have AV Jennings as one of our partners. It's now my pleasure to welcome to the microphone their CEO, Mr. Peter Summers.
Thank you, Stuart. And can I begin by congratulating you and everyone at Golf New South Wales, and also everyone at Twin Creeks on putting on such a fantastic tournament. And that includes, it was mentioned by Ross before, the volunteers who do such a fantastic job. Ironically, Twin Waters provides a bit of a synergy with AV Jennings. I'm not sure if, or many of you will know that one of your members is Steve Waller, the former Australian captain, and Steve's a brand ambassador for AV Jennings, and we've been proud also to be a major sponsor of the Steve Waller Foundation now for over a decade. So nice little synergy here with Twin Creeks. Outside of that, I'd just like to now congratulate the winner. I think I should acknowledge Travis first. Always tough to lose in a playoff, so well done, Travis. A great tournament, a great week.
Call Travis up.
And call Travis up to Travis.
I'll leave it up to you. All good, go.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? And you call it.
Yep. And as we know, the playoff decided this tournament. The winning score was 17 under par. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the winner of the 2019 AV Jennings New South Wales Open, Josh Younger, with rounds of 63, 70, 67 and 71, and of course won in a playoff. Congratulations, Josh.
Thank you. Cheers.
I'll just get you that. Present that to Josh and get a few photos.
Hold it together, gentlemen. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Just this way, just a tiny bit, so we can get some AV Jennings behind you. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Done. Thank you.
Cheers.
Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. I'll start off with the major sponsors, AV Jennings. Thanks for that. For your support. Penrith Council, Golf New South Wales. Without all that, we don't get to do what we love. To the members here for giving up your course for a week, much appreciated. To the course staff, put on an amazing course again. Some of the best greens I've ever putted on. To all the volunteers, thanks for your help this week, and commiserations, Trav, well played. And thank you. Cheers.
Well done, Josh. Just like to finish with a couple of thank yous, certainly to Twin Creeks Golf and Country Club. They presented a course that was absolutely unbelievable, and in the drought conditions we've had, hats off to Darren. I'd really like to have a special round of applause for the course superintendent, Darren. There's a lot of other people that make this tournament happen. There's a lot of volunteers. We thank you for your efforts. To my team at Golf New South Wales, it's a year-long project. They do long hours through the tournament. There's a lot of stuff that happens leading up to that. So to Graham Phillipson and his team, thank you. You know, wonderful job. There's been a lot of volunteers also from Golf New South Wales here in the form of directors and rules officials. Ladies and gentlemen, the last thank you is to you, the crowds that have come out. The crowds have been our biggest in the 3 years that we've had here at Twin Creeks today, and thank you for your support, and we look forward to seeing you back at the 2020 New South Wales Open. Thank you.
Well, Stuart Fraser was exactly right there, wasn't he? The crowds were wonderful over the weekend here at Twin Creeks Golf and Country Club, and we certainly saw plenty of wonderful golf out there. Congratulations, of course, to Josh Younger. Commiserations to Travis Smythe, who had a wonderful week himself, as did a lot of other players. But James, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ewan. Thanks for teaching me on the go.
Oh, mate, I do more corrupting than teaching these days. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure. And we've certainly got a lot of good golf ahead of us with the Australian Open Championship next week, the Australian PGA Championship in 3 weeks' time, and expect to see a lot of the players on the leaderboard this week also doing well in those championships. There's one thing is for certain: the future of Australian golf is very, very bright. But once again, congratulations to Josh Younger. Thank you very much for joining us here this weekend of the AV Jennings New South Wales Open Championship.